under these new tariffs on all goods from New Mexico, Canada, and China. Brian Moody with the Kelley Blue Book telling WSB, even if cars are assembled here in the United States, they're likely made up of parts from other countries.
You could argue that the way around this is for certain automakers to build more of their cars here in the U.S. That worked in the 70s and 80s, and that was the intention of the Reagan and Clinton administrations.
He also says the tariffs will impact about 40% of affordable or lower-priced automobiles. President Trump's heading to Capitol Hill tonight to address a joint session of Congress to recap what his administration has done so far in his second term and what he plans to do next.
The theme of tonight's address is the renewal of the American dream. Kennesaw State political scientist Kerwin Swint says President Trump's speech is ambitious in its scope.
To sell to the country his take on everything he's trying to do right now, from the border to the economy to foreign policy.
He says it's a big opportunity to energize Republicans, but also a risk as he faces unhappy Democrats. Newly elected Michigan Senator Elissa Slotkin will deliver the Democrats' counter address. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB.
And we will have live coverage of both addresses starting at 9 tonight right here on 95.5 WSB. First Lady Melania Trump has invited a number of guests for tonight's speech, including Allison and Lauren Phillips, the mother and sister of Laken Riley, the 22-year-old Georgia student who was killed last year while out for a run on UGA campus. Increasing clouds with a high around 70 this afternoon. It's going to get windy, too, and then overnight, there's a chance of severe weather. What might we see?
An inch of rainfall is possible from these storms, but also damaging wind gusts as high as 60 miles per hour. That'll be strong enough to knock down some trees and power lines.
WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast. That comes your way at 12:05. Well, this is Fat Tuesday, and right now in New Orleans, that is the scene. They're celebrating Mardi Gras with thousands of people in costumes filling the streets to finish off carnival season. Some parades have been postponed because of the threat of storms. The city is also providing enhanced security, like barriers along key parade routes and a larger law enforcement presence after the January 1st truck attack that killed 14 people there. Well, make sure your doors are locked. A man walked into an unlocked basement door at a home on Cannings Lake Court in Lawrenceville. Once inside, he looked around, then headed into the bathroom where he took a shower. Then he grabbed a key to the house, a lighter, and took a knife. Corporal Juan Mariero telling us.
So it's kind of an odd story, but definitely a burglary nonetheless, and something that we need stopped and identified. Gwinnett
police have now released pictures of the suspect. We've posted them so you can take a look, WSBradio.com. Anybody with information being asked to call police. Now to Pickens County, police there tell us this noon that they still have not located the hit-and-run driver who left a bicyclist seriously injured over the weekend. That driver facing some serious charges, according to Captain Chris Leak with Pickens County Sheriff's.
It's serious injury, hit and run, and that is a felony offense.
And they are looking for a dark-colored passenger car with front-end damage. Anybody with information being asked to call the Pickens County Police. All right, let's talk about air safety when you're flying. That's being discussed in Washington today. The House Transportation and Aviation Subcommittee is holding a hearing. Steve Cohen, ranking member of the Aviation Subcommittee, talking about the air traffic control system and the need to invest in modernization and staffing after a series of safety issues and a deadly accident.
Today, that system is under strain and has been under strain for some time. Under Democratic and Republican presidents, it's been bipartisan in its failure to address the problems.
And several of the recent close calls have involved Atlanta-based Delta Airline jets. And have you been in meetings all morning? A little fatigued? Well, a new study finds about 90% of workers feel less productive on the job following a bad meeting. It's called meeting hangover. And researchers with UNC Charlotte say many of us feel compelled to discuss the issues with coworkers. Common factors that can spoil a meeting include length, unclear decisions, and topics that could be handled through email. Meeting leaders are urged to limit the attendee list and keep those meetings short. Let's take a look at the markets. Bad day on Wall Street. The Dow's down almost 1.5%. NASDAQ is also down about 1%, and the S&P's down more than a full percent. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Andrew Seco has a look at your roads.
And travel advisories are rolling through Forsyth County. Only a left lane open with this crash forward to northbound McFarland Park with its exit 12. Those intense delays starting to stretch back pretty far. Avoid the area. Take Highway 9 to get around that and use a fast track through here. Still seeing some merge madness forward to southbound roadwork in the left lane, merging to 85 South, exit 1A, feeling the pinch all the way back towards Lennox Road at Brookhaven. And our roadwork on the southeast side still blocking that left lane. 20 eastbound, the collector distributor ramp at Wesley Chapel Road. Exit 68, those through lanes still seeing a right lane blocked, but we are slowing and going with those merge delays backing towards Flat Shoals Road on 285 proper. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
It's time now for your 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official plumber of Atlanta Homes.
Cloudy skies today, breezy as those wind gusts climb as high as 30 to 40 miles per hour. Daytime high 70. Heavy rain and thunderstorms arrive after midnight, pushing through metro Atlanta through 5 a.m. As much as 1 inch of rainfall possible with these storms, as well as wind gusts as high as 60 miles per hour. That would be strong enough to cause some tree damage and power outages early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, drying out, high 65. Turning chilly on Thursday morning, lows in the mid-30s. Sunny skies Thursday afternoon, high 55. Partly to mostly cloudy for Friday and Saturday with highs in the upper 60s to low 70s.
All right, we'll have more news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Have a look down.
Greetings, conversationalists across the fruited plain. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I'd be happy to have you. If you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you can get the live stream, the podcast, the show notes, the social media links, everything you need to stay in touch. We have breaking news. And I got to get to the breaking news out of the gate here. It's actually very big news. Had to shake up the show on the fly here. And yeah, by the way, can I just, because I'm very self-conscious about it, I'm whistling. So these freaking braces have moved my teeth to the point. I've only got a few more months in them. But right now, in addition to having lettuce stuck in my teeth from the damn braces, I'm making whistles. I sound like some cartoon character whistling as I talk, and it's making me paranoid. I apologize. I'm very self-conscious about it all of a sudden. We have this breaking news, though. Have to get to it. Volodymyr Zelensky, Ukraine's president, has just gotten on Twitter to signal he is ready for peace. A complete change of his song. What did I tell you yesterday? That Zelensky was either going to have to reset his relationship with Donald Trump or he was going to have to resign. And a growing chorus of people have come out and said, yes, he's going to have to reset or he's going to have to resign. I tried to play it straight. Didn't want to be salacious, didn't want to be clickbaity, didn't want to be tribal, wanted to be rational, wanted to be coherent. I was right. I'm not saying Zelensky, listen to me, he has no idea who I am, but it was just obvious if you were paying attention to the situation, what the correct analysis beyond the partisan chest pounding actually was. He was going to have to reset the relationship or he was going to have to resign. This is his statement. He has put on social media in Ukrainian and he has put in English. Quote, I would like to reiterate Ukraine's commitment to peace. None of us wants an endless war. Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. No one wants peace more than Ukrainians. My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts. We are ready to work fast to end the war, and the first stages could be the release of prisoners and truce in the sky, ban on missiles, long-range drones, bombs on energy and other civilian infrastructure, and truce in the sea immediately if Russia will do the same. Then we want to move very fast through all next stages and to work with the U.S. to agree a strong final deal. We do really value how much America has done to help Ukraine maintain its sovereignty and independence, and we remember the moment when things changed when President Trump provided Ukraine with javelins. We are grateful for this. Our meeting in Washington at the White House on Friday did not go the way it was supposed to. It is regrettable that it happened this way. It is time to make things right. We would like future cooperation and communication to be constructive. Regarding the agreement on minerals and security, Ukraine is ready to sign it in any time and in any convenient format. We see this agreement as a step toward greater security and solid security guarantees, and I truly hope it will work effectively. There you have it. That's actually really, really big news. It came after Donald Trump cut funding to Ukraine for military assistance overnight, a hardball tactic. I put this in my show notes today. Have any of the European powers read The Art of the Deal? If they had read The Art of the Deal, they would have known that Donald Trump plays hardball negotiations. Cutting off the military funding and equipment to Ukraine is a hardball negotiation tactic by Donald Trump to get Ukraine to the table, and guess what? It worked. In point of fact, actually, the European powers have spent more money paying Russia for natural gas than they have paying Ukraine to fund its war. It's one of the wild realities of the situation in Ukraine right now that everyone has wanted to gloss over. The European powers have spent a whole lot of money on Russian natural gas. Now, remember, you go back to when Donald Trump was in the White House the last time, the United Nations rubbed their nose in it that they were dependent on Russia for natural gas. And the European leaders at the United Nations laughed at Donald Trump, and it turns out that he was right. This came up with Jake Tapper last night on his TV show.
It's so ironic. They're still reliant on Russian oil and gas, moving it throughout Europe or moving it to other places and bringing it back into Europe. So they're essentially putting as much money into supporting Russia and not putting as much money into actually defending Ukraine and then begging us to be the backstop for security. That comes to an end.
Yeah, I actually saw a study from a European group that showed that Europeans were actually buying more Russian oil and gas than they were helping Ukraine in terms of the aid. So in some ways, the Europeans are funding both sides in this war.
Yes. Now, this was Donald Trump yesterday when the issue of Zelensky came up at a press conference and also talking about cutting weapons to Ukraine.
President Zelensky supposedly made a statement today in AP. I'm not a big fan of AP, so maybe it was an incorrect statement, but he said he thinks the war's going to go on for a long time, and he better not be right about that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, now Zelensky today said, no, one more. This is J.D. Vance.
Minerals deal would have provided the monies to rebuild their country and a strong U.S. presence and maybe European troops as well.
And this is an important part of it. The president knows that, look, if you want real security guarantees, if you want to actually ensure that Vladimir Putin does not invade Ukraine again, the very best security guarantee is to give Americans economic upside in the future of Ukraine. That is a way better security guarantee than 20,000 troops from some random country that hasn't fought a war in 30 or 40 years. The security guarantee and also the economic guarantee for Ukraine is to rebuild the country and ensure that America has a long-term interest. You're not going to do that if you come to the Oval Office, insult the president, and refuse to follow his plan for peace.
That's J.D. Vance talking to Sean Hannity last night. Now, how was all this played out with the public? Harry Itten and the CNN gang ran the numbers.
Well, I think the easiest way we can kind of just ask this is, do Americans like the way that Trump's handling his job and compare it to how they felt about Joe Biden? So this is the net approval rating. You look at Joe Biden back in 2024, he was 22 points underwater. Holy cow. You look at Donald Trump, it's just a different planet entirely. I mean, the gulf between these two is wider than the Gulf of America or Mexico, depending on which side of the aisle you stand on. He's at +2. So, look, at this particular point, Americans are giving Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt. He's doing considerably better than Joe Biden was doing on the handling of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And so on this simple question, I think Americans are saying, okay, Donald Trump's doing all right on this.
What about specifically on how they feel about bringing the war to an end?
Yeah, okay. So, look, questions on this can be quite complicated, but I think this kind of gets at sort of where the American trend line is. Americans on the Russia-Ukraine war want a quicker end of the war, but Russia keeps its captured land. Look at this, 50%, bare majority coming in here, support Ukraine's right to fight, even if it means a longer war. That's at 48. This is very, very close. But the trend line on this question is so important because that want a quick end of the war, look at this. You go back to August of 2022, it was at 31%. Now we're at 50%. I mean, that is a rocket ship upwards in terms of the Americans who want a quick end to the war, even if it means Russia keeps the captured Ukraine land. Americans are moving closer and closer to wanting a compromise, even if it means that Ukraine doesn't really get what it set out to want, at least at the beginning of this war.
In other words, Americans are moving rapidly to Donald Trump's position on the war that it needs to come to an end. That's just the reality. Trump is right on this. He has known where the public was headed. Was it Wayne Gretzky said, skate to where the puck is going to be? Donald Trump went to where the public was going to go, and he staked out his position there, and the public has finally arrived at that position. And Zelensky has had to have this wake-up call that he is going to have to cut a peace deal. It is absolutely true that Zelensky yesterday to the Associated Press said he expected a long war. He said it, and Donald Trump said, that's enough. We're done. We're cutting off aid. Today, he rushes to Twitter. I don't think it's a coincidence. He put it on Twitter. Elon Musk has been dragging Volodymyr Zelensky needlessly, inappropriately, frankly, in my view, given some of the things he said. But Zelensky chose to make the news on Elon Musk's website. What is most notable about this, not his concession that the meeting went poorly at the White House, but that he's ready to do a ceasefire, a sea and sky ceasefire. Essentially, they'll hold the land, both sides hold the land, but no more drones, no more bombs, no more missiles. If Russia will go along with it, he will go along with it. Now, the Western elite, the intelligentsia, believe Vladimir Putin has no intention of keeping peace for a number of reasons. Putin, they say, believes that he can get the U.S. to walk away, wear us out, and he can keep going. He's beginning to win with drones. He doesn't want to repatriate a massive number of criminals who are now battle-hardened. That would bring about the collapse of urban centers within the former Soviet bloc and Russia. He doesn't want those people there. He actually doesn't want to deal with the social fallout of soldiers coming home with stories about poor performance by the Russians. He doesn't want to deal with any of that, so he's got every incentive to keep them there in the conquered territory, keep advancing on Ukraine, wait out the Americans, bleed the Ukrainians dry, have Europe give up on giving resources. He's making so much money on Europe because of natural gas. And by the way, remember, it was Joe Biden who incentivized this. Remember, Joe Biden canceled natural gas exports in this country. He canceled the expansion of natural gas exports. Didn't cancel them all, but canceled the expansion. The canceling of the expansion of natural gas exports by Joe Biden emboldened and enriched Moscow. Joe Biden also advanced an oil deal with Venezuela that Donald Trump has just canceled. The oil deal with Venezuela also helped Russia. Why? Because Venezuela was assisting the Russians, and the Russians were providing military aid to Venezuela as they prepare to invade their neighbor, and it was funneling money to Russia. Joe Biden and the Europeans together have been collaborating on funding the Russians. Now, listen, there is simplistic thinking out there that this is just proof they wanted a war forever. I realize there are dumb people who believe the Europeans really just wanted a forever war or the Americans wanted a forever war. That's not really it. What is actually the case is that the Europeans and the Americans cannot compartmentalize and synthesize together their environmentalism and their global foreign policy. So their environmentalism requires a reduction in their own power sources, particularly coal, which requires a reliance on Russia, who they see as an enemy. So they fund Ukraine to help the Russians, who they view as an enemy, but they can't get away from the Russians because they're held hostage by an environmental elite who don't like civilization to begin with. They're not funding the forever war by design and intentionally. They're funding it because they're trying to placate their environmental masters, and they're trying to stop the Russians, and they can't comprehend that they're making the situation worse, because what environmentalism ultimately does is it pollutes your brain enough for you to abandon your sovereignty and your sense. There's never been this grand conspiracy, but environmental leftist socialist policies have directly played a role in emboldening Russia. It's why we need energy independence. It's why we've got to advance the energy front. And it's why, if we were smart, we would be building up our natural gas capacity to ship to Europe and get as many ships as possible and start almost a Berlin airlift of natural gas to wean them off the Russians. And that would begin to dramatically change the situation in Europe. We should be doing that.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
At 12:20, tracking a travel advisory for Forsyth and the Cool Lake area traffic center. Only a left lane open with a crash 400 northbound McFarland Parkway. That's exit 12. Stretching back a couple of miles. Avoid the area. Take Highway 9 as a quick fast track here. And Merge Madison continues through the heart of Midtown. 400 south. Left lane road work as you're merging 85 south, exit 1A. This is sponsored by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities. Fentanyl hides in places you wouldn't expect. Your med's a friend's pill anywhere. If it's not from a pharmacy, test it first. One strip could save your life. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSBE.
Everyone has an opinion.
Your baby is ugly.
Eric Von Hessler has an opinion.
I abhor violence. Unless it's on the football field, where it belongs.
And some advice.
A meme coin, of course, something I don't really understand. Don't ever buy one. There you go. I just gave you some great advice.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
90 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of Atlanta has been repairing and replacing garage doors. 90 years. Since 1935. Broken spring or a dead garage door opener? They won't leave you stuck. They're ready with same-day repair service. Always look for the iconic red ribbon of the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of Atlanta. For same-day repair service, schedule online at overheaddooratlanta.com or call 404-USA-DOOR.
Critical Link from Southern Link. We're more than a mission-critical LTE network. Together, we're a network of people that has you covered. Public sector grade push-to-talk, LTE voice, mobile data. Critical Link. Reliability in action. Call 866-450-LINC for Southern Link products and deals. Or visit Highfly Technologies in Atlanta or NextLink in Duluth. Go to southernlink.com to find a dealer near you.
At Ameris Bank, we're invested in the success of your business. Our local bankers are ready to help you improve your cash flow, optimize your operating accounts, and access financing when you need it. From treasury services and digital banking to loans and lines of credit, we offer tailored solutions to help your business thrive. At Ameris Bank, we're with you. Visit amerisbank.com/withyourbusiness or walk into one of our branches today to get started. Ameris Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All loans subject to credit approval.
It's Eric Erickson here. Every single day now, I deal with a malicious request to click a link. My daughter the other day got a text message some of you have probably gotten. Click on it and pay your toll, and it's just a scam. All these things keep happening. They're preying upon the young, senior citizens, and you and me. But there's good news. Vision Computer is here to help you. If you have their managed service, you're never alone, and in just 15 seconds, expert tech support is at your fingertips, ready to protect you from online threats, scams, and computer problems. And you don't have to take my word for it. We're a Vision Computer household, but they've got thousands of 5-star reviews beyond my household reviews, but I'd give them 5 stars too. They've got thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews because they're simply the best. Call them at 404-COMPUTE today or visit them online at visioncomputers.com, because when it comes to your security, you can't afford to wait. Vision will take care of you. Tell them I sent you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com.
Properties come in all shapes and sizes, and so do foundation repairs. Mark Beckham here. It could be new construction, a big house, a small house, or your commercial property. Anyway, you need the leaders in foundation repair to handle it. Get your free estimate at atlantaramjack.com.
Are the effects of diabetes, prostate cancer, hypertension, or high cholesterol robbing you of your ability to perform in the bedroom? Choice Men's Health can help you eliminate ED and get your bedroom performance back in just one visit. Choice Men's Health offers breakthrough treatments for ED and performance issues in the bedroom to help you regain your confidence and give you back the intimacy with your partner. Call Choice Men's Health right now to make an appointment and find out how you can eliminate ED on the first visit. Popular name brand pills like Viagra and Cialis don't work for everyone and can have serious side effects. Choice Men's Health custom medications work immediately, even if you have a medical history or think you're too old to perform like you used to. Choice Men's Health can help you have a fulfilling sex life again. Call Choice Men's Health today at 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170. Once again, that's 404-400-1170. 888-400-1170.
If your home shows any sign of foundation issues like cracking exteriors, bowed walls, or sticking windows, your house may have a foundation problem. AquaGuard Foundation Solutions is here to help you. Schedule your free inspection at aquaguard.net now. Foundation issues? Remember,
AquaGuard.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
You may not agree with him, but he tells you the truth. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be delighted to have you. Well, the Democrat, if you didn't think they could get weird enough, I put this video in the show notes today. In fact, I myself completely compiled the show notes. I have to own it, because if there's any typos, because I put the whole thing together because Philip's out fishing today, and I put this in. And it's appropriately bleeped so I can play it. But this is Cory Booker, Chuck Schumer, and Elizabeth Warren. All of them on their social media accounts doing the exact same scripted video.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one, Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down, they're up. Inflation is getting worse, not better. The prices of groceries, gas, housing, eggs, of essentials. It's not getting better, it's getting worse.
I know. It's three voices at once. They're not in sync. Now there are 30 Democrats. They've all done the exact same scripted video, attacking Donald Trump for high prices. Suddenly, they're concerned about the price of eggs and inflation, and they're back to January 6th. They're attacking Elon Musk. It is literally 30-plus Democrats, I think 32 Democrats at last count, doing the exact same scripted video by the Democrats, because what Americans told the Democrats they want is some originality and some thoughtfulness. And so instead, we've got the herd mentality of the Democratic Party on display here as they run the exact. What is the point of this? 32 Democrats doing the exact same script with the exact same inserted videos in the exact same way. Who is talking to the Democrats about this? Absolute nonsense. It shows how unoriginal they are. They've got one person getting 32 Democrats to make the exact same unthoughtful attack on Donald Trump. It doesn't come across as authentic, and voters said they want more authenticity from the Democrats. This is not the way to do it. Go out and do another peace dance and pound some drums, guys, and think a little harder while you smoke your weed. Oh, my gosh. Now, I got to tell you about Vision Computer before I get out of here, because they would love to do business with you. If you were buying a computer, you can get a great computer from Vision Computers. If you just need their tech support, you can get their tech support from them. You call them at 404-COMPUTE. Now, I realize 404, that's an Atlanta area code. Doesn't matter if you're in Kalispell, Montana, if you're over in Mississippi, if you're in Oregon, wherever you are nationwide, 404-COMPUTE. You give them a call or go to visioncomputers.com. They can be your tech support. They have thousands and thousands and thousands of 5 stars on the reviews in Google for their tech support. They can remote into your computers and fix it. They can help you if you lost a file on your computer, if you need printer support. You can outsource to them the tech support for your office, so you don't have to pay one person a big salary. You pay Vision per computer $179, and they take care of you. And they can build you computers, and the tech support comes for free. Tell them Eric sent you. You're going to save even more money. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. Go check out visioncomputers.com today or 404-COMPUTE.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. New this half hour, the suspect accused of shooting and killing Roswell police officer Jeremy Labonte is denied bond. 23-year-old Edward Espinoza appeared briefly in a Fulton County courtroom today with his lawyer. He argued that Espinoza needs mental health care the Fulton County jail is not providing. The judge decided that Espinoza is a flight risk and a danger to the community. So he's accused of killing Officer Labonte February 7th at the Ace Pickleball Club. Your weather for today, might want to go ahead and download the WSB radio app and turn on your weather alerts on your phone. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards is tracking a storm system that's going to arrive here after midnight.
So while a lot of us are trying to sleep, Mother Nature's going to be picking up the winds, gusting as high as 60 miles per hour. And that may be high enough to knock down a few trees and power lines just in time for tomorrow's commute.
And you may have noticed the wind starting to pick up. And in fact, we will be under a wind advisory starting at 1 o'clock. Check back for the latest watches and warnings here on 95.5 WSB. President Trump says that he will be straight with the American people when he delivers his joint address to Congress tonight. The president posted, "The night will be big, and we will tell it like it is," he says. The White House says the address will be a must-see TV, and you can hear it here on the radio as well. The White House adding his speech will focus on the economy, border security, and his plan for global peace. Live coverage of both addresses starting tonight, 9 o'clock here on 95.5 WSB, also on the WSB radio app. And new tariffs are in place on goods from Mexico and Canada. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says they are imposing double-digit tariffs as a result. He said this to the U.S. today.
Markets are down, and inflation is set to rise dramatically all across your country.
And the Dow Jones Industrial Average did fall more than 800 points as President Trump's tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China took effect today. Right now, the Dow's down 651 at 42,539. So the Dow's down more than 1.5%, NASDAQ's down more than 0.5%, and the S&P's down more than a full percent. It's 12:32.
When your termite bond renewal comes in the mail, do you cringe wondering, how much more are they going to charge me now? Switch to Breda Pest Management and your termite rate is locked in for 10 years. Hey, it's Mark Aram here. If your termite service doesn't inspect inside, how do you know you're protected? With Breda, you get total peace of mind that your home is termite-free inside and out, and your termite rate is locked in for 10 full years.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Passion. It's the difference between getting it done and being exceptional. For your home's exterior renovation, hire a company passionate about your project. Trust the Plus. Painting Plus.
Hi, I'm Charlie. My passion for high-quality remodeling began when I started my business at just 15. Now we have grown to the Plus family of businesses. If you hear the Plus, it's us.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
Hey, if you've been thinking about selling your home, now is the time. With a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, now you can sell your home fast and for more than you expect. Hey, Sean Hannity here. One of the most stressful things about selling your home is not being able to control the timing. Now, Mark Spain Real Estate, they allow you to receive an all-cash offer and close in as little as 21 days. Just go to markspain.com to find out what your guaranteed offer will be. That's markspain.com. And you can start packing.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects, now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Andrew Seco, how are we doing on the roads?
We're looking lighter than normal for this point in the morning, in the afternoon, but we are still seeing the travel advisory rolling through Forsyth Forsyth County, only a left lane open, long-standing crash now. Forward to northbound, getting past McFarland Parkway, exit 12, backdooring you towards Windward Parkway. To save yourself some time, you may want to hop on Highway 9 as an alternate. The merge Madison Midtown continues, left lane roadwork, 400 south, merging onto 85 south, exit 1A, stretching you back towards Lenox Road. A bit of a rough ride as you're leaving Buckhead, and we are still seeing delays on the southeast side. Left lane blocked, 20 east, the collector distributor ramp at Wesley Chapel Road, right over the wall in the 3 lanes, right lane blocked, but the merge madness makes it tough. Those delays spilling out of 285 proper, backing you to Flat Shoals Road, exit 48. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Cloudy and breezy today, high near 70, wind gusts as high as 40 miles per hour.
More news at 1 o'clock, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Hello, America, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be absolutely delighted to have you. This is where I was going to start the show today. Never say I don't cover the breaking news, because I feel like I got to cover the breaking news. Donald Trump will be addressing Congress tonight. It will be his non-State of the Union joint address to Congress. So the State of the Union happens every year. However, it is typically considered the incumbent president at the beginning of the year. So Joe Biden didn't really give a State of the Union address. Donald Trump's not technically giving a State of the Union address, but this is the State of the Union address. We just don't call it that in the first year of a presidency. It is just a joint address to Congress that presidents typically do. One of the things he will undoubtedly talk about are tariffs. This is a problem for the Republicans. And I want you to, you can disagree with me, that's fine, but just hear my thinking on this. Whether you think tariffs are a problem or not, whether you think tariffs will hurt the economy or not, whether you think tariffs will cause inflation or not, does not matter. Here's what matters. Tariffs, in effect today, the Dow, as I'm talking right now, obviously it's subject to change, but right now the Dow is down 560 points, NASDAQ down 74, S&P 500 down 60. It's actually recovered a little bit. Was down 700 points, closed down about 700 points, the Dow did yesterday. Whether you believe tariffs will impact the economy or not, whether you believe tariffs are good or bad or not, whatever, it doesn't matter. What matters is that tariffs are a radical departure from the status quo in terms of economic policy. It actually is a major separation from the status quo to now. Tariffs are something brand new. So if anything negative happens to the economy, and there are warning signs about the fragile nature of the economy, well, guess what? Tariffs are going to be blamed. Tariffs are going to be blamed because they're the new thing. Tariffs are going to be blamed because everyone tends to intuitively understand tariffs are not necessarily great for the economy, and the economy is actually on weak standing right now. The economy is not as good as people claimed it to be, and we all know that is true because every time the Biden administration lectured us to assure us the economy was actually doing well, Republicans would respond with, no, actually, it's not doing that well. This is Scott Bessent with Margaret Brennan on Sunday on Face the Nation.
You know, Margaret, what I find interesting is for the past year and a half and during the campaign, most of the media said, oh, the economy is great. It's just a vibe session. Now that President Trump's in office, there's an economic problem. And I'll tell you what the problem was.
We were pretty straightforward on this program.
Well, I haven't seen this program, but in general, this idea that working class Americans didn't know what they were talking about. They didn't know their lived experience. They didn't know what their pocketbooks were feeling doing. And I tell you, President Trump was elected. One of the reasons was the affordability crisis, and we are setting about doing that.
I don't watch this, Brian. I love the continued insults, Margaret Brennan, and she just keeps taking it. But he's right. The economy is not doing well, and it has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It was not doing well last year. So add tariffs to it. I don't care what you think about tariffs. If anything negative happens to the economy, tariffs are going to be blamed. Therefore, Donald Trump is going to be blamed. Now, in the real world, I will tell you that economists left, right, and center think tariffs actually cause inflation and are a drain on the economy. In the real world, economists left, right, and center think tariffs are bad. And so I want to put this in perspective for you. Economists left, right, and center told Joe Biden, if you do a massive COVID spending package, you're going to cause inflation and hurt the economy. And Joe Biden chose to ignore them in favor of progressive Democrats who believed in modern monetary theory. Economists left, right, and center are now telling Donald Trump, if you impose tariffs, you're going to cause inflation and wreck the economy. And Donald Trump is choosing to ignore them in favor of progressive Republicans who think tariffs can reset the economy. Not a wise thing, in my mind. Tariffs actually do cause prices to go up. The way that Donald Trump is structuring the tariffs, they're not on whole parts. They're on pieces. So the cost of your car is going to go up if the radiator is made in Mexico and comes into this country. Even if the car is made in this country, there's going to be a tariff on the radiator. There's going to be a tariff on the engine. There's going to be a tariff on all the parts and all the components of the whole package. That's going to be a problem. Farmers are going to be hit. If you got the show notes today, there's a story in Politico. Ag state Republicans squirm. I'm concerned, says Senator Ron Johnson, of the 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico. I'm concerned. Uneasy, I think, is the word, says Jerry Moran, Republican from Kansas. They and dozens of other GOP lawmakers represent states with major agriculture industries that are among the first targets of trade retaliation from Ottawa and Mexico City. The Canadian government has disclosed more than $20 billion worth of U.S. goods it plans to slap with higher tariffs, including food products such as poultry, beef, fish, and yogurt. The fallout for ag producers, a traditionally conservative-leaning industry, will be severe, and it's prompting Republicans in those states to take on an uncomfortable position of the party right now, questioning, albeit quietly, a major plank of Trump's agenda. The agriculture industry lost $26 billion from retaliatory tariffs in 2018 and 2019, according to the Agriculture Department, with soybeans, sorghum, and pork producers facing the biggest losses. While the USDA stepped in with billions in direct payments to farmers to help them weather the fallout, the funding may be harder to access in Trump's second term as the administration seeks to cut federal spending for tax cuts. And by the way, the USDA's Commodity Credit Corp is running low on funding. That's one problem with the tariffs. Ontario, Canada is announcing it will cut power to the American Northeast. China and Mexico are responding with tariffs. We've got a trade war on our hands. Most people thought that tariffs would just be a negotiating tactic. And then they got implemented. It's actually a dangerous political game for the president. Now, if you offset the tariffs with tax cuts in other areas, they can be managed. The problem is that the Republicans are nowhere near the tax cuts that they need. They've got a tax package. So tariffs are going into be implemented today. Now, there is actually breaking news as I'm talking to you right now. Target, Walmart, and other major corporations are announcing that they will be increasing prices later this week in their stores due to tariffs. That's part of the problem. Shipping giant Maersk is also literally just announcing, as I say that, it just went live. Maersk, the major shipping giant, says that tariffs are going to have an immediate impact. Maersk is the second largest ocean shipping company in the world, and said these tariffs will be an inflationary threat to the U.S. economy, and they expect that they will see rate increases coming this week. I don't know that the American people want this. Markwayne Mullin, the senator from Oklahoma, I put a link to this in the show notes. Markwayne Mullin is out with a statement suggesting Americans actually will be okay with the tariffs. He believes Americans are actually willing to accept it. In his statement, he said this is Manu Raju on CNN, some Republicans acknowledge there could be higher prices with Trump's Mexico and Canada tariffs, but believe their constituents would be willing to stomach that to back Trump's policies. Markwayne Mullin, senator from Oklahoma, told me, of course, he's worried tariffs could impact his state, but argued his constituents are willing to do what it takes to support the president's policies. Asked if constituents are ready to pay higher prices, Mullin said, quote, I think our constituents are going to do what it takes to get America back on track. We're tired of countries taking advantage of us. That's easily said. That's easy to say, but is it true? Is it actually true that that's the case? I'm not sure that is actually the case. This is a quote, by the way, from David Kelly at J.P. Morgan. The trouble with tariffs, to be succinct, is that they raise prices, slow economic growth, cut profits, increase unemployment, worsen inequality, diminish productivity, and increase global tensions. Other than that, they're fine. Now, it is true there are populist economists out there who believe that tariffs, when coupled with other tax cuts, actually don't do anything. That before the economy slows down, the U.S. sees a windfall of money coming in, and then you make adjustments to other taxes that offset the tariffs and you keep the economy from slowing down. The problem is that according to the Atlanta Fed, the economy is already slowing down. So with the economy already slowing down, implementing tariffs could be a bad move. But this is largely the problem here. Again, take out whether you say it, because you find 9 economists who hate tariffs. You're going to find 9 economists. Actually, you won't. You'll find like 3 economists who love tariffs. You can get tariffs. You can get guys who make all sorts of claims. Tariffs are a relic of the 19th century. They do slow down the economy. Now, this is what some Trump supporters say, though, that by slowing down the economy, it'll cause interest rates to be cut. Actually, what happens is tariffs are inflationary, and so they produce inflation, which then causes the Federal Reserve to raise rates. When the economy does slow, yes, the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates, we hope, but the Federal Reserve's primary issue is 2% inflation. They want 2% inflation. So if the Federal Reserve is having to cut interest rates because tariffs have caused inflation, that's going to mean that they're cutting interest rates because the tariffs have actually wrecked the economy. This is a real problem for Donald Trump. Now, let's take my analysis out of this. I know there are people out there who disagree and want to defend the tariffs. I get it. Here's what I want to say to those of you who want to defend the tariffs and those of you who think it actually is good economic policy or makes rational sense. It doesn't matter. Why does it not matter? It doesn't matter because tariffs are a disruption of the status quo. So if anything bad does happen to the economy, the tariffs are going to be blamed because the tariffs are the new thing in the economy. And good luck pushing back on that when most mainstream economists, left, right, and center, do blame the tariffs. You can be the lonely fringe. You can be the PhD who says boys can become girls, that it's actually science to believe it. You can say all that. You can be like the doctor who says the MMR vaccine does cause autism. You can be that way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because tariffs are the new disruptor to the economy, whether the tariffs are to blame or not for the economic calamity, the tariffs will be blamed for the economic calamity. And who's the guy who imposed the tariffs? Donald Trump. The blowback will be intense. And also, if we go back to the last time he did it in 2018, 2019 with the farm industry, He was able to step in and make direct payments to farmers to overcome the losses they suffered through the tariffs. But this time, he's going to be hard-pressed to do that because he wants to cut taxes, and it's got to be able to make it through the reconciliation rules, which you can't do if you're also going to throw a lot of money at farmers. He's making it more difficult to enact his tax cuts and mitigate the damage. God bless him for trying something new. I'm just not sure listening to progressive Republicans who are pro-tariff and pro-19th century trade policy is the way to go. Now, let me direct you guys to Old Glory Bank. So Old Glory Bank is my bank. I've been a member of theirs for 2 years. They are good friends of mine. I am friends with them. Mike Ring, their CEO, has been a vocal opponent of debanking trends in the country. It's one of the reasons Old Glory Bank was started is because they were afraid of trend lines where conservatives were having their bank accounts turned off. If you go to oldglorybank.com today, you can get an account with Old Glory Bank. They're FDIC insured. They're an equal housing lender. You can get home loans. You can get car loans. You name it, oldglorybank.com. But listen, maybe you want to take ownership in Old Glory Bank. They're bypassing Wall Street for Main Street to sell freely transferable, tradable stock in Old Glory Bank. You buy ownership interest. It is your privately held stock. And if you're interested in investing in Old Glory Bank, you can go to own, O-W-N, own.oldglorybank.com, own.oldglorybank.com. I've done it. Just full disclosure, I did buy stock in Old Glory Bank. You can too. Own.oldglorybank.com. Stock goes up, stock goes down. Stock is not FDIC insured. Stock can have risks. Talk to an expert about it. I'm not one. But if you're interested, there's where you go, own.oldglorybank.com. If you just want a bank account, go to oldglorybank.com.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Eric Erickson Show.
At 12:51, travel advisory still active through Forsyth and the Corey Carrier Traffic Center. Now we're just down to a right lane block 400 north at McFarland Parkway, exit 12, with the brake light still stretching you towards Windward Parkway. Avoid the area, hop on Highway 9, save you just a little bit of time. This sports sponsored by Rapid Radios. Their instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio for an extra 5% off. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSBE.
If it's happening on the streets of Atlanta,
U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia announces his resignation.
if it's happening on the roads leading to Atlanta,
Some brake lights out of Cobb County, I-20 eastbound.
we've got it covered.
The U.S. Surgeon General is warning about a link between alcohol and cancer.
Your 24/7 news source.
Covering the stories that impact you.
Tune in throughout the day to stay up to date.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
Anyone on the roads in North Georgia knows that tractor trailers are everywhere. For my friends in the motorcycle community, a distracted big rig could change your life forever. Hey, it's Eric Von Hessler. Steel Horse Law specializes in motorcycle accidents involving trucks, and they can protect you from big corporations and their armies of lawyers. Steel Horse Law can help you get back on your feet, medical bills paid, back to work, and your case resolved. Schedule your free accident evaluation at steelhorselaw.com.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in, we'll work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team. And we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Septic systems are not a do-it-yourself project. You need an expert. Hi, I'm Shannon, owner of Scorpion Septic. We're Dave Baker's septic experts on the Home Fix-It Show. My licensed and insured team specialize in solving your septic problems on the spot.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic, where there is never a pump-out charge with your repair. Details online.
ScorpionSepticServices.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
He may not tell you what you want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
Greetings, welcome. It is Erick Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. At the top of the next hour, we'll get into the Democrats' problems. Republicans got tariff problems. Democrats got women in sports problems. Right now, though, do you know what a floppy disk is? I assume if you're my age or older, you do. A 3.5-inch floppy disk, which is always wild. So it was 5 1/4 when I was a kid, and they really were floppy. If you held them and shook, they would flop. And then sometime when I was in middle school, they developed the 3.5-inch floppy, and it was actually in a hard plastic case. They were colored. You could have labels on them. Well, Nick Callio is the head of the airline Airlines for America, the trade association for U.S. airlines. He's testifying today before Congress, and he holds up paper strips and 3.5-inch floppy disks and points out that floppy disks and paper strips are still used by air traffic controllers. That this is how old and out of date the FAA infrastructure is, that they still rely on floppy disk, and then they rely on passing paper strips with flight information to the different air traffic controllers. Each air traffic controller, as I understand it, don't shoot me if I'm wrong, controls certain zones in the air, and they pass the pieces of paper between them as the airplanes move in and out of the zones. They have the floppy disks as well. Steve Forbes actually is out with a tweet pointing out we can upgrade air traffic control technology right now. If we can fund schools, we can fund FAA and get more out of the job and make it more efficient. It's wild to me. They're still using 3.5-inch floppy disks. It really is kind of crazy to me. All right, we got to move on. The Republicans have problems when it comes to tariffs. They do. Tariffs are going to get blamed, whether they're to be blamed or not. They're going to get blamed if something happens to the economy, and Republicans will own it. Democrats have their own problems. They are out of touch completely with Americans when it comes to things like men and women sports. And yesterday, Senate Democrats all together filibustered legislation that would have prevented men from going into women's sports. We got to talk about the Dem problems when we come back.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down again. get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay, get your GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay, get your GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Estella's Pharma.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. New this hour, a man's facing numerous charges, including murder after a shooting spree in Paulding County in a neighborhood there. The sheriff's office receiving several calls from people in the Fox Ridge subdivision about shots fired.
When our deputies arrived on the scene, they found that 2 people had been shot. And other residents at the home were able to subdue the suspect, essentially hold him down.
Jordan Yadas with the Paulding County Sheriff's Office telling WSB the suspect has been identified as 52-year-old Jody Thomas Wales. 73-year-old Larry Thomas Wales is killed. 47-year-old Jason Scott Muncher is in critical condition. Investigators are trying to determine a motive and the relationship between the victims and the suspect. All right, your weather for today. Cloudy, highs around 70, but then storms are possible overnight. Some of those storms could be intense. Be sure and check back and download the WSB radio app so you can get any weather alerts as they come in. New this hour, Warner Robins parents suing the U.S. government after a military-based locker room wall fatally crushes their 14-year-old son.
Gabriel Stone died last July on a swimming trip on Warner Robins Air Force Base.
A partition wall collapsed and fell on him. A wall that weighed roughly as much as a small SUV.
Marine veteran Kamal Stone has always believed American military bases are the safest anywhere.
That never crossed my mind that my son could lose his life on base.
Atlanta attorney Sho Watson contends negligence in the 60-year-old wall's construction. He notes there are military installations all over Georgia.
They may have the same lack of inspection and maintenance as what occurred here.
The suit seeks wide-scale inspections and repairs in all similar facilities. Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
All right, this just in. WSB's Jonathan O'Brien tells me the Georgia State Senate has voted to advance legislation known as the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Supporters say the law will provide important protections for people of faith, but opponents say it encourages discrimination. Attempts to pass similar legislation have failed in recent years. This measure now goes to the House. President Trump's long-threatened tariffs against Canada and Mexico have gone into effect now, kicking off a trade war. Business analyst Jill Schlesinger says this is going to result in higher prices.
We've just gone through this inflationary surge. We're not back to where we want to be. Now we see inflation go up again. I think this probably explains why people are very unnerved by the idea of prices drifting up.
And she says the inflation rate is expected to drift up. It could go as high as 4%. It's been a rough day on Wall Street, as you can imagine. The Dow right now down 662 at 42,529. So the Dow is down more than 1.5%. NASDAQ's down almost a full percent, and the S&P's down more than a full percent. It's 102.
It's the unsung hero of your home, your garage door. You never think about it. You just hit the button and it opens until it doesn't. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. So you're ready for a new garage door. At All Four Seasons, we offer fast service, affordable prices, and a huge selection of styles, colors, and custom features. Improve your curb appeal, lower your energy bill, secure your home, and increase your property value. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 Seasons Garages.com.
It's home show time. It's right around the corner, and it's going to be great. The Atlanta Home Show, Friday through Sunday, March 7th through 9th at the Cobb Galleria Center. 3 days only to shop, compare, and save with over 200 trusted local experts all under one roof. From kitchens and baths to flooring and more, inside and out. Don't miss Georgia's largest home show. Get your tickets now at atlantahomeshow.com. Use Baker in the promo code and save 50%. That's the Atlanta Home Show, March 7th through 9th at the Cobb Galleria Center.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
At Coosa Valley Credit Union, we believe in kinder banking. That means speaking to a real person, a state-of-the-art website and mobile app, and kinder banking means offering our members the most competitive rates in the market. This is Andy Harris. Come see us at Coosa Valley Credit Union.
Have a leaky basement? You know, once you've had water in your basement, it's going to be a regular thing. That's why you should call AquaGuard Foundation Solutions now. They'll work with you to ensure your basement stays dry. Visit aquaguard.net for a free inspection today. Remember, AquaGuard.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Andrew Seco's in the 24-hour traffic center.
Better news out of Forsyth. Crash cleared 400 northbound at McFarland Parkway, exit 12. Working well again through Forsyth County. No more need for an alternate, but the merge madness continues through Buckhead. Left lane roadwork jammed at 400 south, merging to 85 south. Delays all the way back towards Lennox Road, exit 2. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Cloudy and breezy today, high near 70. Wind gusts as high as 40 miles per hour this afternoon. Rain and storms don't arrive until closer to midnight. They'll move through the metro region through 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Damaging wind gusts would be the main impacts. Drying out tomorrow afternoon, still breezy, high 65.
It is mostly cloudy and 62 in Villa Rica, 58 right now in Beaufort. In Marietta, you have cloudy skies and 62 degrees. We will have more news at 1:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Three, two, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome. It is the second exciting hour of the Eric Erickson Show, coast to coast. The phone number, 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, if you text DATA, D-A-T-A, text that word to 33777, get a discount on the daily show notes. Everything we talk about on the show, all the links, well, they're in the show notes, and it comes out right as the show starts. And I should know because I literally wrote every single word of it today since I decided I would let a certain employee in charge go fishing. He's literally on a boat in a lake surrounded by alligators fishing for bass. I have no idea why he enjoys it, but he does. Nonetheless, we must move on. So the Republican problem, as I said in the last half hour, Republican problem, tariffs, the economy. They got to do something with the economy. The president says he's going to have real talk tonight for Americans as he has his first joint address to Congress. I'll be on News Nation tonight at 9 with my buddy Leland Vittert. We'll be discussing the speech. I'll stay after the speech to discuss it with Leland tonight. I want to start this hour, though, with Debbie, who's been waiting patiently to talk about this particular issue, and it kind of needs to be talked about. Debbie, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good. Full disclosure, I'm not a biologist, but I am a female, and your call screener suggested I ask you this question. In your view, what is the most effective path forward to ultimately enshrine the Protect Women and Girls in Sports Act into law? Should the focus shift to encouraging individual states to pass their own legislation, like in Georgia, or do you believe a legal challenge that makes its way to the Supreme Court would be the more impactful and lasting solution?
I actually think a legal challenge to the U.S. Supreme Court is the big way forward, and here's why. So essentially what the Supreme Court did with Neil Gorsuch is, so Title VII is employment law. Title IX is essentially education and girls and sports, things like that. And when Neil Gorsuch sided with the Democrats to say that gender identity was an employment discrimination issue, he made very clear that it is not a Title IX issue. What the Biden administration tried to do was make gender identity a Title IX issue, and they were rebuked by several courts because of Neil Gorsuch's decision, and I think it's the Bostic case involving a police officer here in Georgia. So if you take it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says no, in fact, boys' Title IX does not apply to gender identity, then Congress, not the president, but Congress will have to affirmatively change the law. And it's going to be virtually impossible to affirmatively change that law because of the filibuster in the Senate. That being said, this effort before the Congress right now is unfortunate that the Democrats have decided to stand on the side of the trans community against girls. It's actually a very notable thing. The other day there was a race up in New England, and all of the girls decided to sit it out. So there was one boy on the girls' team, track team. He decided to run the race, and he by default became the winner because every other girl from every other school sat it out. And it was a high school sporting situation, wasn't college. Parents get this issue. Non-white voters are not on the side of the Democrats on this. Non-white voters, moms and dads, none of them support boys and girls sports. And yet, the Democrats have insisted that they got to be on their side. John Fetterman, he's been a beloved hero of Republicans. I've been telling you, he's still a progressive. He's going to disappoint you. Well, he came out last night and he defended trans athletes and said it's just a handful of students, and he's on the side of the students who are being bullied. They're not really being bullied. Democratic Representative Alicia Kozlowski, listen to this, her outrage about the Preserving Girls Sports Act.
Make no mistake that this is just another version of state-sanctioned bullying and genocide. And I don't say that lightly.
Don't say that lightly. That's the Minnesota House. Hang on. I gotta check this out because is it so? Because no. Is it? I'm just looking. Maybe not. Maybe not. No. Definitely. Okay. Definitely. BLT and G. Alphabet Gang member. Just looking that. She looks like a. I don't know. Of course. I'm sorry. Alicia Kozlowski lives in Duluth, Minnesota, and they identify as both non-binary and two-spirit. Yes, non-binary and two-spirit. That's just, yeah. It also goes by Lish. Alicia Kozlowski goes by Lish. Yeah, look, I don't want to pick on this person, but I just looked at this like, lady looks like a dude. And yep, Kozlowski is non-binary and two-spirit and thinks that the protecting, preserving girls' sports is state-sanctioned genocide. state-sanctioned genocide. Now, words mean things, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you know this, but genocide actually means the eradication of a whole group of people. The eradication. Last I checked, if you keep boys out of girls' sports, you're not actually killing the boys who want to be in the girls' sports. You're not actually eliminating them from society, from the gene pool. No. You're just saying you're a boy playing boys' sports. But Alicia Kozlowski, also known as Ozawa Anaquad, Yellow Cloud in their Indian name. Oh, my gosh. Or Lish Ozawa Anaquad believes that keeping boys in boys' sports is genocide. I mean, you're depriving them of scholarships in college, but that's not really genocide, Lish. These are crazy people. Then this is a mental health issue, and the Democrats are on the side of the crazy people suffering mental health issues. And parents understand this. And last night in the United States Senate, all the Democrats stood up for the crazy people with mental health issues against the normal girls who just want to compete against girls in girls' sports and don't want to be in the locker room with a dude who has, dude parts hanging down. Jon Ossoff, the Democratic senator from Georgia, sided with the Democrats and filibustered the Preserving Women's Sports Act. Brian Kemp, governor of Georgia, criticized him on social media. The reply, of course, was, Governor, you should run for the Senate against Jon Ossoff. The Democrats don't even understand that they come across looking very weird in this. What the Democrats do is they look at the Republicans as very weird, and the Democrats look at Republicans very cruel, weird and cruel. Republicans look at the Democrats the same way. But the problem for the Democrats is that the public looks on the Democrats as weird and cruel. They might look at Republicans as sometimes cruel, but the Democrats are weird and cruel. The Democrats tonight, as Donald Trump addresses the nation, they're taking fired federal employees with them. That's right. The guests will be fired federal employees. If you subscribe to the show notes, I put a picture in today of a sign that's going up in yards all around Washington, D.C. The sign, it's a yard sign, like in this house, we believe, whatever. This sign is, this house supports federal workers. And it has open hands with 3 people being held by the open, bloody red hands. This house supports federal workers. Actually, every freaking house in the United States supports federal workers because we're all taxpayers and they're on our salary. The fact that Democrats have decided that they're going to dig their heels in defense of federal workers not losing their jobs when they never defend other workers losing their jobs, and they cause layoffs with a bad economy, and Joe Biden just shows you how out of touch they are. So they're supporting boys who want to be girls, and they're supporting federal workers who are losing their jobs, as if federal workers are not allowed to lose their jobs. When did federal workers and their jobs become sacrosanct? When did they become such that we're not allowed to ever question their jobs? This reminds me, I played you the audio yesterday. I want to play it again. This is a climate scientist. I put it in the show notes today. Climate scientist, fired by Doge. And he's unhappy. And what I find remarkable is that every single time one of these people goes on TV to complain about losing their job and they open their mouth, guess what? They turn out to be reliably, consistently Trump-hating progressives.
And they don't like necessarily the fact that we help people because of the fact that we just help people. We have no ulterior motives at NOAA when we're trying to help the American public. At no point at NOAA has anyone ever said we're not going to give important information, data, and resources to a community based on who that community voted for. But we do know someone has done that. The president has done that when it's related to wildfires out in California. So I think there's a lot of issues with just the fact that we help others purely because we want to help others and because we're trying to help people deal with increasing extremes as it relates to climate change.
He's so virtuous. He just helps people. That's all he does with his federal taxpayer subsidized salaries. He just helps people. And Donald Trump doesn't help people. I help people. I help people understand the dangers of climate science and dangers of climate change. And it's just my job to help people. And Donald Trump doesn't like it that we're helping people. Donald Trump wanted to put strings on the aid to California as opposed to the Biden FEMA employee who said, don't help anyone with the Trump sign in their yard. Yeah, only Donald Trump does that. No, I do believe there was a Biden FEMA manager who did just that, said, don't help people with Trump signs in the yard. But he feels so virtuous. And how can I lose my job because I do positive? I do good. Gosh darn it, I am needed. I am needed. No, you're not needed. It's remarkable that the Democrats are siding with federal workers when they never side with people in the private sector, and they're siding with the mentally ill. They're not siding with the sane people who want their daughters to be able to get college scholarships through sports. And they wonder why the public hates them right now. Donald Trump may have problems with tariffs. Democrats have problems with voters.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
At 120, tracking new trouble downtown to the Courier Carrier traffic center. Something jamming up on the right lane, 75-85 south, just past North Avenue. Delays all the way back towards 17th Street. A bit of a rough ride approaching the heart of downtown. And the Merge Madness continues. 400 south, left lane blocked, merging onto 85 south. The sport sponsored by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring today. Robert Half is here to help. They know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
Stay connected to Atlanta's news, weather, and traffic with the 95.5 WSB app. Listen to Atlanta's morning news. EVH, Erick Erickson, Mark Aram, and Shelley Winter. No matter where you go. 95.5 WSB and the WSB app. Download it today or find us in the iHeart and Odyssey apps.
Some things get better with age, but not your home siding and windows. If your house is showing its age and needs a facelift, it's only going to get worse. New siding and windows are the perfect fix. Dave Baker here for my siding and window experts, Nelson Exteriors. With Nelson Exteriors, you choose the window that's right for your home and budget from many top-rated manufacturers like Andersen and MI. And Nelson is a licensed and insured James Hardie Elite Preferred Siding contractor. For unmatched quality and craftsmanship, Google Nelson Exteriors.
Are you facing a fork in the road and deciding between continuing your career and retirement? I'm Wes Moss, host of Money Matters, and this massive life decision shouldn't be taken lightly. Talk with my team if you'd like help reviewing your retirement accounts and building a financial plan. We can help you review options and offer an opinion based on your best interests. You can find us at yourwealth.com. That's YOUR wealth.com.
If you've been thinking about selling your home, now is the time. With a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you can sell your home fast and for more than you expect. Hi, it's Chris Chandler. One of the most stressful things about selling your home is not being able to control the timing. Mark Spain Real Estate allows you to receive an all-cash offer on your home and close in as little as 21 days. Hassle-free, guaranteed. Trust the most experienced real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz, and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no, and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life, regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit, or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
You need to replace all your windows, but some can't wait.
Start small with a single window or one room, and your window price will be locked in. Hi, it's Ted and Jonathan from North Georgia Replacement Windows.
Our fiberglass windows are beautiful, not big and bulky like vinyl composite windows.
Your detailed window and door installation will be quick, clean, and hassle-free.
Window shopping made simple with 0% interest available.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Join Eric's army of activists and let your voice be heard. Text ARMY to 33777.
Welcome back. It's Eric Erickson. The phone number 877-973-7425. I am headed up to WEEB in Southern Pines, North Carolina in May. Pay attention to that. I will be headed up there. To those of you listening, want to hang out with you, and I'm going to go to Pinehurst now to Dave, waiting patiently. Welcome to the show, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today, Eric?
Great.
Good. Let's talk about the tariffs. And my opinion is, well, number one, Trump used tariffs in his first administration. That's not even a question. So he's we're somewhat familiar with him using tariffs, although these seem to be a little more widespread and random. But tariffs can be helpful to something that Trump's really concerned about, and that's interest rates. The Feds use interest rates to slow the economy, and you were talking about tariffs being inflationary, but they also are something that may drive the market away, depending on what the tariffs apply to. Let's take, for example, an iPhone, right? You don't necessarily need to buy a new iPhone, but you do need to buy Apple or an Orange or something that we export. And Trump knows that. He's not a dum-dum. So I can see it being something that possibly can slow the economy in a direction that the Feds are forced to lower interest rates. And as we all know, interest rates were quite low in Trump's first term. So your thoughts?
Yeah, so you're right. So first of all, if the tariffs are inflationary and prices go up, the first reaction of the Fed is to raise rates, and then the economy slows, so provoking the second reaction of the Fed, which is to lower rates. The problem is what induces the lowering of the rates? A slowing economy, a recession. So, yeah, the tariffs throw us into a recession. They cut rates. Guess when the recession hits, as we're headed into the midterms, And the public is now mad because they were promised Trump would fix the economy, and instead we have a recession, and the blowback on the GOP becomes intense. This is the problem. Yeah, you're right. The tariffs can cause the Fed to cut rates because a recession happens. That's the problem. Americans for Prosperity wants common sense conservative reforms, and they want to help Donald Trump advance his tax cuts. And by the way, if they can come up with tax cutting solutions to offset the tariffs, then it neutralizes the tariffs, and we're fine. And that's what AFP is now hoping to do, is trying to get some common sense conservative solutions on board with taxes. If you go to protectprosperity.com, you can sign up and learn more and be informed. And if we get a tax cut package that can mitigate the tariffs, then we're all okay. And the concerns of economists kind of go away with the reshaping of the tax cuts. But we got to get the tax cuts. And to get the tax cuts, we need Congress on board, and we need Congress to move quick. So if you go to protectprosperity.com or americanforprosperity.org, you can sign up with them. They have chapters in virtually every state. Protectprosperity.com is where you want to go if you want the action center on taxes and you want to stay informed on taxes and the tax cuts and have your voice be heard on tax cuts. Go to protectprosperity.com. Brought to you by my friends at Americans for Prosperity. They'd love to have you on board.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. Tonight, President Trump addresses Congress for the first time since returning to office. White House correspondent Mary Bruce has more from Washington.
The White House says the theme of the president's address tonight will be the renewal of the American dream, and they are promoting this as must-see TV. Meanwhile, Democratic Senator Alyssa Slotkin of Michigan, a swing state that Trump won, will deliver the official Democratic response. She's expected to reach out to working-class Americans and push back on the president's firings and cuts to the federal government.
And you'll hear the live coverage of the president's address tonight, as well as the Democratic response, starting at 9 tonight here on 95.5 WSB. We are under a wind advisory now. Severe storms move in overnight. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will be monitoring. In Paulding County, a man is locked up this afternoon after a shooting spree that left one dead, another man in critical condition. 52-year-old Jody Thomas Wales opened fire in the Fox Ridge subdivision, killing 73-year-old Larry Thomas Wales and leaving 47-year-old Jason Muncher in critical condition. Investigators are trying to determine a motive and the relationship between the victims and the suspect. The suspect accused of shooting and killing Roswell police officer Jeremy Labonte is denied bond. 23-year-old Edward Espinoza appeared briefly in a Fulton County courtroom today with his lawyer. He argued that Espinoza needed mental health care in the Fulton County jail that he's not getting. The judge decided that he is a flight risk and is a danger to the community. This just in, we have an update on Pope Francis. He's in stable condition now with no new respiratory issues, but he will sleep with ventilation at night, a ventilation mask. According to the Vatican, the Pope's been in the hospital since Valentine's Day. It's 1:32.
Hey, it's Shelley Winter here from my good friends at PalmettoSleep.com. Let's talk about a serious business, sleep apnea. I suffer from it, and whether you've been diagnosed with it or afraid you have it, I have the solution. Palmetto Sleep is here to give you your life back. They make it easy to get help for sleep apnea because living without a good night's sleep is simply no way to live. Palmetto Sleep offers a custom-fitted oral appliance that opens your airway so you naturally breathe the way nature intended. The best part is they offer virtual consultations and in-home sleep testing. No overnight stays at a sleep center. Plus, Palmetto Sleep has all the doctors that you will need. Most appointments are virtual, and it's all covered by your private medical insurance. Don't suffer from another sleepless night or daytime fatigue like I do. Visit PalmettoSleep.com now. Visit PalmettoSleep.com. That's PalmettoSleep.com.
When you think of the great outdoors, do you ever think about your own backyard? Hi, this is Candace from Exovations, and have I got a tip for you. We turn backyards into great outdoor living areas. Imagine your home with a new, beautiful, and durable composite deck. Maybe with a relaxing screen porch, or maybe your family would enjoy a stone patio with a pergola to stargaze, or a covered open-air porch with a stunning tongue and groove ceiling. Add an outdoor fireplace, kitchen, or bar area for even more function and beauty. We can design and install your greatest outdoor adventure. And with Exovations, you'll get your project delivered on time, on budget, and without all that stress you usually hear about in construction. Let's make your outdoors great again. Schedule your free quote today at exovations.com. That's EXOVATIONS.com.
At Coosa Valley Credit Union, we believe in kinder banking. That means speaking to a real person when you call or step in a branch. That means a state-of-the-art website and mobile app for you to access your money when you need it. That means offering a variety of account options to meet your family or business needs. And kinder banking means offering our members the most competitive auto, personal, home, and business loan rates in the market. This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union. Experience kinder banking and stop in a Coosa Valley Credit Union branch near you.
Andrew Seco has a look at the roads.
And we're still slowing and going through Buckhead, 400 southbound road work in a left lane, merging to 85 south, exit 1A, making it tough heading to Midtown. And once you're in Midtown, looking for new trouble in a left lane, 75, 85 south, approaching 17th Street, exit 251. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Cloudy and breezy today, high near 70, wind gusts as high as 40 miles per hour. Heavy rain and thunderstorms arrive after midnight, sweeping through the metro region through 5 a.m. Damaging wind gusts may knock down trees and power lines for early tomorrow morning. Drying out tomorrow afternoon, though still cloudy and breezy, high 65.
Cloudy skies, 62 degrees in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Hello there, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be delighted to have you with me. So, we got the Democrats' problems, we got the Republican problems, and we've got tonight. Tonight will be not the State of the Union joint address to Congress. And there is, well, I find this kind of funny. Both of these from Axios. Democratic lawmakers are discussing a litany of options to protest at Donald Trump's speech to Congress on Tuesday, including through outright disruption. How a half dozen House Democrats told Axios some of the tactics go beyond their leader's recommendation that members bring guests hurt by Trump and Doge. This sets up a potential clash between traditionalists and its more combative anti-Trump wing. The part that we all agree on is that it's not business as usual, and we'd like to find a way productively to express our outrage, says one House Democrat. There is widespread disagreement among Democrats on what would be appropriate. Some members claim they're going to bring noisemakers. Some say they'll walk out of the chamber when they find things that they find objectionable, like criticism of trans kids. Some claimed they would bring cartons of eggs, not to throw, but to sit in their laps as a silent protest. Democrats say they need to get loud, they need to be proud, they need to stand up for the man. Which man? Federal employees. This is another report from Axios. Some Democrats are inviting fired federal workers to be their guests. The move is an effort from Democrats to show they stand with thousands of federal employees. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer privately urged Democrats last week to invite fired federal workers as their guests. Schumer will bring Alyssa Ellman, a disabled veteran who was recently fired from the Veterans Affairs Office. Jimmy Panetta will bring Ben Vizachero, a U.S. Forest Service employee. Grace Ming of New York will bring Luke Graziani, an Army veteran fired from a VA hospital. Richie Torres will bring Nancy Bolin, who was fired from the U.S. Agency for International Development. Brian Schneider will bring an Army veteran fired. Joe Courtney will bring a Marine veteran fired from the IRS. Okay. and this will give the media great coverage. I have a question. I got a question. I need to ask this question. As Donald Trump addresses the nation tonight in a joint address to Congress, Democrats will bring fired employees who were fired by DOJ who worked for the federal government. When have Democrats ever brought working class members of the private sector who were fired? Elizabeth Warren loves to rail on the private sector. She loves to attack banks and big businesses. Remember shrinkflation? They attacked the private sector and said it was the private sector causing inflation, not Joe Biden. Have the Democrats ever cared enough about private sector employees to bring them to Congress to confront the president? Why not? Because they haven't. They're fixated on federal employees who lost their jobs. They want compassion shown for the federal employees who lost their job. They do not care about you. They do not care about you in the private sector. They are willing to cause inflation on the private sector. They are willing to harm you with their policies. They do not care. They are treating federal employees in a way they have never, ever treated employees in the private sector. They are bringing federal employees fired by Trump to confront him at his joint address to Congress. They would never do that with private sector employees who lost their jobs due to economic policies by Joe Biden. It's a remarkable turn of events for the Democrats to be doing something like this. It really is remarkable. It is an entirely double standard. The fact that they're going out of their way to side with federal employees in a way they have never sided with the private sector. And, of course, the media is helping them. Look, we had this, it was an exchange on TV, on CNN with the former USAID global health lead defending, well, just listen to this on CNN.
If it's not fraud, they will say.
I'm sorry, it's CNBC. Listen to the defense of USAID.
If it's not fraud, they will say, look, I'm just looking right now some of the expenses that people would find very questionable. Things like money, $1 million to boost French-speaking LGBTQ programs in West and Central Africa through the State Department, $15 million for condoms in different areas. I mean, those are the types of things that rile up the public. How do you get at some of those problems that may not be things that the American electorate are thrilled about funding, whereas you probably would have a much higher American public turnout for things like polio, measles. And look, maybe not for everybody. It may not be something that was voted straight up or down, but you could probably make the case for the return you get and the safety we get back here in this country as a result.
Well, let me jump in on the $50 million for condoms supposedly
15.
in Gaza.
Yeah.
$0. Even $15 million
for condoms in the Taliban.
Yeah, $0 went for that. What we saw.
No. It went to Gaza, the Gaza province of Mozambique. Don't lie.
Instead, and we can talk, for example, about transgender. HIV programs are caring for transgender people who are at extremely high risk of getting HIV and transmitting HIV. You can't do an HIV program without addressing populations, that men who have sex with men, transgender populations, and so on. Excising them like we've done now means that these diseases are going to come back. And these can be cast in ways that make it sound like it's wasteful. But in reality, this is the work that you do when you take reality seriously.
When you take reality seriously, Republicans, notice the arrogance here. That Republicans don't take reality seriously because they don't want to fund LGBTQ French-speaking programs in Africa. Really. Suddenly we don't take reality seriously because we are $35 trillion in debt. I was on this morning with my affiliate, WTIC, in Hartford, Connecticut. And Brian, the host, was going to have on Senator Chris Murphy. And he said, well, if you had a question you could ask Chris Murphy, now I'm not going to ask him, but if you had one, what would you ask him? I said, it's very simple. If we were to confiscate all of the wealth and tax 100% of the income of all the billionaires in this country, we would not have enough money to close the federal deficit this year. shouldn't say confiscate the wealth, but tax. If we were to tax 100% of the income of every billionaire in America, we wouldn't close the deficit. Forget the national debt. We got to deal with the national debt. To deal with the national debt, we have to deal with the deficit. Confiscating all the income this year of all the billionaires wouldn't even close the deficit. So what are you going to cut? What are you going to cut? Here's the former head of USAID who says we have to spend money teaching French programs to the alphabet gang kids of East Africa in order to solve the AIDS crisis. Why do we have to do it? We can't help everybody. I've used this analogy before. I'm going to use this analogy again. Pay attention to it. If you're on a plane and the plane loses pressure, the masks fall from the ceiling, what do they tell you to do in the safety briefing? Put your mask on first before you assist someone else. Why? Because if you're with someone who's panicked, if you're with an elderly person who can't do it, or you're with a child who can't do it, by the time you're done helping them with your mask, with their mask, you're dead. You suffocate due to the loss of pressure in the plane. You have to put your mask on first and then put the mask on the other people, or you're going to pass out. And once you've passed out, you're not going to be able to put your mask on. And the person who wasn't capable of putting their own mask on sure as hell isn't going to be able to put your mask on you. And so you're going to die. When a plane loses cabin pressure and the masks come up, you have several seconds before you pass out due to loss of oxygen. You put your mask on first, you turn to the person next to you who can't put their mask on themselves. They may pass out, but they're still breathing for another minute or so. You put their mask on them, they're going to revive. Our cabin altitude, our plane has lost pressure. The mask has fallen. If we don't put our mask on first and get our fiscal house in order, we're not going to be capable of putting the mask on the LGBTQ community in Africa because we're going to be out cold. They can't put the mask on themselves. They need help. We got to put ours on first. And how do we put ours on first? We deal with the fiscal mess. We deal with the massive national debt that we have. We deal with the massive deficit that we have. And the only way to deal with it is to cut spending because we don't have a taxation problem. We have a massive spending problem in this country. If we confiscate all the income of all the billionaires in America, we still can't close this year's national deficit. So we can't even address the national debt. The national debt still goes up. Tax at 100% all the income of all the billionaires in America, the national debt is still going to go up next year because we still will have a deficit. We got to put our mask on first. As the plane is going down. If we want to help the poor people of Africa, Ukraine, Israel, wherever, we've got to get our fiscal house in order. It is the single greatest national security issue in this country. It makes us vulnerable to China and Russia and everyone else. We can't take on the Chinese if we don't have the money to build up our military. And right now, for the first time in American history, more money is going to service the national debt than going to defense spending. And that's a terrible, terrible, terrible red flag for us. It's not going to end well for us. To the phones, let's go to Ron in Jacksonville, Florida. Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show. Ron, how are you?
Hey, Eric, I'm doing great today. Thanks for taking my call. I was a long-time listener of Rush Limbaugh, and I attended your show down in St. Augustine on Friday, and I really want to thank you for that tribute to him. It was a wonderful thing.
Thank you very much. I got to say, I haven't seen James Bo Snerdley in a number of years in person. It was so good to catch up with him. He's such a dear friend. I don't like to bother people, even James, and he got on to me for not bothering him and wants to keep in touch, and I'm glad. But it was a great event, and I'm still kind of gobsmacked that Rush's parent radio company never bothered to put on a big event for people to be able to honor him. after he passed. So I was just delighted WOKV down in Jacksonville, Florida, which was one of Rush's very first affiliates, actually put something together to honor Rush. Thank you for coming.
Well, yeah, I thought it was an awesome show, and Bo really got personal with a lot of things that he talked about. I know it was hard for him to discuss some of the issues because him being such a great friend of Rush's, but it was all in all, even though I was somewhat disappointed with the crowd turnout.
Well, it's trying to get people out for something like that in the evening. There were still a lot of people there, and maybe there were too many seats in the room, but I was happy people were still willing to show up and honor Rush.
Well, it was a great show, and I appreciate your attendance. The second thing I wanted to bring up was I am just absolutely appalled at these freaking Democrats for not supporting the women's sports initiatives. I mean, I've got two great nieces in Missouri who have really given it their all to go out and excel at sports that they play, and for them to have to compete against somebody who's got a dangler, that really just kind of gets to me.
A dangler, really? Yes. Listen, that is a good way to put it. I'm going to start using that. Somebody that's got a dangler. Ron, listen, you're right. And it should offend everyone. And this is kind of the problem. And let's just say, just for the sake of argument, bear with me. Don't shoot me for saying this. And Ron, thanks for the phone call. Let's just say that we have an economic problem, whether it's tariffs or whatnot. The economy goes into recession, and the Democrats rebound in the midterm elections because of it. People get angry about the economy. They take it out of the GOP, and Democrats capture the House. The Democrats are going to think they have no problems. They still have problems because they're still out of touch with the American people. And you could fast forward into 2028 running for president, and the American people unleash on the Democrats for still being completely insane on these issues. They have real problems on this issue, and privately, Democratic consultants get it. They understand privately they got problems. The problem is the major Democratic donors are super woke, and they're held hostage to them as a result. Now, I don't want you to be held hostage to nasty smells in your house. If you go to EdenPureDeals.com and you put in Eric3 on the front page of the site, ERICK and the number 3, no space, you can get 3 Eden Pure Thunderstorms for less than $200. You save $200, and you eliminate odors. I keep one in my travel bag. You can hold it in the palm of your hand. You can plug it into the wall. You can plug it in with a USB cord, and it wipes out odors. It's also an air purifier, so it gets rid of dust, pet dander, and pollen. It generates plasma, and so it wipes out viruses and bacteria, 99.9%, they tell me, bacteria and viruses, and it eliminates every odor. So if you got a stinky hotel room, you fire it up, you walk away, it cleans out the odor. It takes care of, dirty diaper odors. It takes care of all smoke odors. It takes care of litter box odors. It takes care of musty odors. It takes care of I fried shrimp in the kitchen and don't want my wife to know odors. It takes care of I made a lot of garlic in the kitchen and my wife's getting sick odors. It takes care of all the odors. And yes, I have had those examples, and it does work to clear out those odors. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERICK3, ERICK3. You get 3 of them, and you save $200. EdenPureDeals.com.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
And at 152, the Merge Madness into Midtown continues in the Courier Carrier Traffic Center. Left lane roadwork slowing down 400 South, merging at 85 South, exit 1A. Delays back towards Lenox Road. No need for an alternate right now. Just pack your patience. Quick tap of the brakes heading out of Buckhead. This report sponsored by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities. Fentanyl hides in places you wouldn't expect. Your meds, a friend's pill, anywhere. If it's not from a pharmacy, test it first. One strip could save your life. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
Hey, WSB is looking for a home for goldfish. Chris Chandler here from Atlanta's Morning News. He is our dog of the month. With Paws Atlanta, we're looking for Goldfish's new family. He's about 3, loved a good belly rub when we met him here, cuddling and curious. Meet him at WSBRadio.com/dog. Our sponsor, Finley Roofing, pays the adoption fee. WSBRadio.com/dog.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects, now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Have your previous remodeling experiences been stressful? Hi, this is Candace from Exovations, and have I got a tip for you? Use Exovations and get a completely different experience. We're a state licensed contractor, show up on time, provide you a project schedule, a fixed price, and your project delivered on time, on budget, and without all that stress that you usually hear about in construction. Schedule your free quote today at exovations.com.
At the Original Mattress Factory, we know that convenience is key. That's why we've made mattress shopping simple and stress-free. Shop in-store or online, whatever works best for you. No high-pressure sales tactics or fake promotions. Our prices are clearly marked, and we openly compare our products to other brands. With our streamlined selection, you won't be overwhelmed by duplicate options, and our 365-day comfort policy provides for peace of mind. Experience the ease of buying factory direct. Visit OMF today for better sleep tonight.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
With our weather extremes, I wanted windows that would stand the test of time. Hi, it's meteorologist Glenn Burns, and I found them. I love my Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows from North Georgia Replacement Windows. I was blown away. They're energy efficient and incredibly durable. 8 times stronger than vinyl, so they last. Experience the fiberglass difference in your home or in their new Alpharetta showroom.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
Healthy, beautiful skin can be yours with Olansky Dermatology. Their expert team offers personalized care for medical, Mohs, surgery, and aesthetic skincare needs. Schedule 24/7 online with their Cumming, Roswell, or Buckhead locations, including new evening and Saturday hours in Buckhead. With 40 years of excellence and over 5,000 5-star Google reviews, trust Atlanta's top-rated dermatology practice. Visit OlanskyDermatology.com or call today. Olansky Dermatology and Aesthetics, where everyone deserves healthy skin.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
You may not agree with him, but he tells you the truth. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. If you're on the phones, be patient with me. This is a short segment. I've been running long. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Today is Mardi Gras. For those of us from Louisiana, I've got to wish you all happy Mardi Gras, bon Mardi Gras to you. Laissez le bon temps rouler. Maintenant, it's going to be a fun day down in New Orleans for a lot of people, and then they're going to have a bad morning. Tomorrow starts the Lenten season. 40 days in the run-up to Easter. Looking forward to this year's Good Friday program, which we will do on the Friday before Easter. Do you know why the Lenten season exists? Back during the Roman Empire, before Constantine and the conversion of the empire to Christianity, if you became a Christian, you more likely than not were going to suffer serious persecution and possibly even death. Those of us in the West, particularly in the United States, are comfortable in our churches now, don't understand the level of persecution one could face in the Roman Empire. So what they did is then the 40 days in the run-up to Easter, if someone wanted to convert, they went through 40 days of intensively learning about the faith. It's where the original confessions came from and the original creeds. The Roman Creed became the Apostles' Creed. I believe in God the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, and in His Son Jesus Christ, our Lord, who was born of the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, was buried, descended into hell, and on the third day rose again. believe in the Holy Catholic Church, the communion of saints, and life everlasting. Those things were used to teach people about the faith. After the empire became Christian, they continued to do this in the run-up to Easter with baptisms, and it became the Lenten season. You were no longer persecuted, but you gave up something for Lent as a sign of the former persecutions, and that's why so many people give things up for Lent now, as a reminder that people back then would have been giving up their lives.
See this garage door? I gotta be honest with you. It's ugly. I mean, successful, attractive homeowner like you, it's time to move on. This is not the garage door your parents thought you'd spend the rest of your life with. And that ain't true with everything in life, don't get me wrong. I mean, honey, if you're listening, you can't divorce me just because I'm no longer the handsome stud you married. But your garage door? The neighbors all think you can totally do better. At Mo Better Garage, we make that way mo better. Let us show you how many sexy new alternatives there are. Just waiting for someone like you. You swipe right on a beautiful new design, we install everything in a lovely ceremony, and you and your new garage door live happily ever after. For better, not worse. How do I know? Because I'm Mo. Call Mo Better Garage and we'll come make it right. Maybe I should pick up some flowers on the way home.
Mo Better Garage, we make it way more better.
MoBetterGarage.com.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. A creepy burglary case out of Gwinnett County. Police are now searching for the suspect.
A man walked into an unlocked basement door at a home on Cannings Lake Court in Lawrenceville. Once inside, he looked around the basement, heads to the bathroom where he takes a shower. Then he grabs a key to the house, a lighter, and a knife. Corporal Juan Matieto telling us.
So it's kind of an odd story, but definitely a burglary nonetheless, and something that we need stopped and identified.
Gwinnett police have now released a picture of the suspect. We have it on our website. Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
66 degrees in Atlanta. Storms moving in late tonight.
So while a lot of us are trying to sleep, Mother Nature's going to be picking up the winds, gusting as high as 60 miles per hour. And that may be high enough to knock down a few trees and power lines just in time for tomorrow's commute.
WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will be here through the night to keep you updated as the storms move through. A man faces murder charges after a shooting spree in Paulding County in a neighborhood there. The shootings are in the Fox Ridge subdivision. Sheriff's Department spokesman Jordan Yotis says the suspect is arrested at the scene of the crime.
2 people have been shot. Other residents at the home were able to subdue the suspect, essentially hold him down.
52-year-old Jody Thomas Wales faces numerous charges, including murder. 73-year-old Larry Thomas Wales is killed. No word on his relationship to the suspect. Another shooting victim is in critical condition. The so-called Religious Freedom Restoration Act passes the Georgia State Senate in a party line vote today. Ackworth Republican State Senator Ed Setzler says the law protects people of faith.
Before a government can force a person to violate their faith, it must show it has a compelling government interest. And in doing so, and accomplish its government purposes, it'll do it in the least restrictive means possible.
But opponents argue the law could allow discrimination. Efforts to pass similar legislation previously have failed. The measure now goes to the House. President Trump addresses a joint session of Congress for the first time since returning to the White House. We'll carry the president's primetime address tonight and the Democratic response beginning at 9 o'clock on 95.5 WSB. First Lady Melania Trump has invited a number of guests for tonight's speech, including Allison and Lauren Phillips, the mother and sister of Laken Riley, the 22-year-old nursing student who was killed while out for a run on the UGA campus last year. The Laken Riley Act was the first bill signed into law by President Trump in his second term. It is now 2:02, and this news is sponsored by Brett Beckers. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
Scott Slade here to talk to you about your health, and I think it's real important to talk about what is most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. Like lots of potentially serious health problems, if you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put this off. I've done it. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-7226. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-2798. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-2798. That's 800-575-2798.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Here's a spring cleaning hack to make your life easier. Schedule an appointment with Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Their patented ZR water cleans better than detergents while leaving zero residue behind, leaving your carpet soft and fluffy. Take advantage of their spring sale going on right now. Mention me, Chris Chandler, to get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129 plus a free hallway. Book online at ZeroResAtlanta.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
It is 2:05, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather in the 24-hour traffic center this afternoon. It's Andrew Seco.
Good afternoon, Bill. Still tracking some merge Madison to Midtown. Left lane roadwork 400 South, merging to 85 South. Exit 1A has you almost back towards Lenox Road, but no need for an alternate. Just a quick tap of the brakes as you're moving. And a little bit slow, 285 North, merging into I-20 East into Cab. Left lane roadwork on the collector distributor ramp at Wesley Chapel Road. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Cloudy and breezy today, high near 70. Wind gusts as high as 40 miles per hour this afternoon. Rain and storms don't arrive until closer to midnight. They'll move through the metro region through 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Damaging wind gusts would be the main impacts. Drying out tomorrow afternoon, still breezy, high 65.
Winds are starting to kick up outside in metro Atlanta, but right now Storm Tracker radar shows no rain in the metro area. It is 62 degrees right now in Duluth, 64 in Douglasville, and 68 degrees right now in Jonesboro. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is Eric Erickson here across the United States, and I am delighted that you are with me today. I hope you got blue sky where you are. Those of you in the southeast, you got storms coming through. In my neck of the woods here in Georgia, they're going to be coming through overnight tonight and into tomorrow. There's a strong possibility of tornadoes. Your local TV or radio station is going to help you out tremendously. I'm looking right now at the map. Those of you in Mississippi, on my affiliates across the state of Mississippi, you've got a lot of heavy storms. They're crossing the Mississippi River right now. I can actually see it on the radar. A strong band of storms right over the Mississippi River right now. All the way down into the Lafayette area, there's some light rain, but those of you in the southeast, listen, you're going to get slammed in the next 24 hours. So stay tuned, keep your phones charged, and be with your local radio station that you can get over the air even when the cable goes out. We got to talk about the potential for a government shutdown. But before I get there, before I do a dramatic change of conversation, Blake is calling from down in Jacksonville, Florida, and I want to take his phone call. Blake, welcome to the show.
Eric, I don't know if you remember, I talked to you last year about reading the names of the hostage victims at City Council.
Yes, I do remember.
And the reason I listen to you is because I'm out doing some volunteering for the grassroots movement, and I'll just leave those subtle hints to you to figure out who that is. But I had to I had to share with you that the last analogy you provided about oxygen masks is just so important. And why I say that is because everybody is looking around at doing other things, but they are ignoring what's happening in their communities, and they're ignoring what here in Duval County. They're ignoring what's happening in Duval County. They're ignoring what's happening across the state of Florida, and they're focusing on things that they don't have the capacity to directly impact. All politics is local, but they turn their backs on it. And I just want to share with you that I am going to use that analogy over and over and over again. I'm going to, plagiarism is the highest form of flattery or whatever. I'm going to flatter you, and I'm going to give you credit every time I can.
So now, no. Listen, Blake, I get this. In fact, I'll give credit to Mike Pence for this, because Mike Pence is the one who told me this one time. Here's the rule. This is the rule. So the first time, Blake, when you go use this, you say, as my friend Eric Erickson said, in mask analogy. The second time you use it, you say, as some people say, mask analogy. And then the third time, from there on out, you say, as I always say, and you use the mask analogy.
No. I've always believed in giving credit where credit is due, and I heard it from you, so you're always going to get the credit. So you have a great show, and
I was going to thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
And I've missed you every time you've been down here, and it drives me nuts. So hopefully one day I get to meet you face to face.
Yeah. So you know what? I know Jacksonville is a place we get to, and not enough, I got to admit, because we've got some very dear friends who have moved to Amelia Island, and I need to get down there more than I do, Blake. So if I do, stay tuned. I will let you know.
God bless you and your family, sir. Thank you for the message about Lent and Easter today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Blake. Y'all, so now if you're just tuning in, I must reset because I had a profound moment. Blake Steele, he's going to give me credit. He doesn't have to give me credit. But if you're just tuning in, it is worth reiterating here. So when I was 11 years old, I probably shouldn't. I've said it for so long. I was in a plane crash. I was on a 747 by myself, and it caught fire. We had to ditch the plane, and the hydraulics were out, so the wheels didn't go down, and we belly flopped on a foamed runway and went down the slide. And it was me. I was 11. I was by myself. My parents were not with me. My family was not with me. It was my very first time flying home from Dubai by myself as a kid, going to see my grandparents. And, when the masks fall out of the ceiling, first everybody freaks out. Everybody on the plane panics. And I was 11 years old. And you put it on. And, I've never paid attention to the safety briefing ever since. You put that thing on, you put it over your head, you stretch the plastic back, just like they say, you put it over and it doesn't inflate. And people, this is the wild thing to me, people panic. Because, there's that bag, and they tell you the bag's not going to swell up with air. The bag's not, but people panic because it's not swelling up with air. And they think they're huffing and puffing, they're hyperventilating, they're panicking. That bag doesn't swell. They think that they're not getting air because it's not inflating, and it's not supposed to inflate. And you got to pull the sides tight to keep it tucked. You're long enough, you get a little rim around your mouth where that thing is. But you've got to put your mask on before you put someone else's mask on. If you're with a child, you put your mask on first, and then, because here's what happens. When the plane depressurizes, you lose oxygen. You don't immediately die. You black out. and you continue breathing at a shallower rate as your body is slowly starved of oxygen, and then you die. So while you're putting your mask on, the person, the child or the elderly person, the incapacitated person next to you who's incapable of putting their mask on, they might pass out. They don't tell you that in the safety briefing. They might pass out. But if you still put the mask on them, they're going to start getting oxygen and they'll revive pretty quickly. They'll revive. But if you decide, you know what, I got to help this person first and not myself, you're going to pass out. They already can't get the mask on themselves, so they're not going to be able to get a mask on you. If they can't get it on themselves, they're not going to be able to get it on you. You got to put your mask on first. And here's the problem with that. The problem is your inclination as a good person, as a compassionate person, as a kind person. Your inclination is, I want to help that person first. I want to help that person first. But by the time you help that person first, you're dead. So now let's translate that into federal aid for foreign governments. You want to help these other countries. You want to help Ukraine. You want to help Israel. You want to fund PEPFAR in Africa. You want to fund some program in Southeast Asia. What happens when we go bankrupt as a country? See, you can't help those countries and you can't help their aid. If you're fiscally insolvent, you're going to go bankrupt. Now, we as a nation aren't technically going to go bankrupt. Our taxes are going to go through the roof. Our interest rates are going to go up. We're not going to be able to do anything. We're not going to be able to build a military to combat China. We're not going to be able to take care of our own poor. We're not going to be able to fund our own schools. We're not going to be able to take care of any government function. So how are we going to help those other people? That's something we don't think about. It's something we need to think about. Out of necessity, we got to think about these things. We have to think about them because if we don't think about them, we're going to make serious fiscal mistakes that wind up not just hurting us, but other countries and people around the world. We're headed towards a government shutdown. We are 10 days from a government shutdown. Republicans have not yet produced a plan to deal with the ramifications of the government shutdown. That's a problem. It's a problem because the Republicans need to do something to be able to convince the Republicans in Congress to go along with the plan to fund the government. And you got to deal with people like Thomas Massie, and you got to deal with people like Victoria Spartz, and you got to deal with people like Chip Roy. In fact, I'm looking for this tweet here. Chip Roy, buddy of mine, member of Congress, said, here's his quote, if we have a clean CR, that's a continuing resolution, and we're able to give and empower OMB and empower DOGE to continue to find cuts, to get lined up and organized for fiscal 26, that freezing spending is always a win for America. We can hold that in check rather than going up. We only need to hold every agency accountable, including defense. So freeze forces, allow more time for DOGE to identify savings, and I think we can help hold down fiscal 2026. In other words, Chip Roy is staking out a position that if we will empower DOGE to continue finding cuts, he's okay with a clean CR. What's a clean CR? A clean CR is a continuing resolution that says we want to fund the government penny for penny exactly as the government is funded right now. So we'll fund the government as it is right now. We're not going to go up a penny. We're not going to go down a penny. We're just going to fund it exactly as it is right now. And we're going to do it until the end of the fiscal year. So when's the fiscal year end? September 30th, 2025 is the end of the fiscal year. Fiscal year 2026 starts October 1st, 2025. I have no earthly idea why the government does that, but that's what the government does. Some businesses do the same. So Chip Roy is taking out this position, fund the government till September 30th, 2025. Don't spend a penny more or less than what we're doing right now. Freeze it in place. But at the same time, allow DOGE to find more cuts, so that when we start dealing with fiscal 2026 and we start dealing with the reconciliation plan that extends the government cuts and extends the tax cuts and maybe makes the tax cuts permanent, we already have cuts in place. We already know where we need to cut. That's not a bad idea. They really should just put Chip in charge of all of this. There's a path forward. There's a path forward. But that forward path for the GOP requires cuts. Now, friends, do you want to know the dirty little secret? You want to know the dirty little secret? The dirty little secret, straightforward, is that Republicans talk a good game, but the will is not there for cuts. The majority of the Republican conference doesn't actually want to cut. The majority of the Republican conference doesn't actually want to cut money. They don't have the will. There are some things they can agree on. DOGE is finding some cuts they can agree on, but the Republican conference as a whole really is not committed to the cuts they claim. Chip Roy, Thomas Massie, and several others insist there's got to be cuts. There has got to be cuts. There do have to be cuts. We can't just raise taxes. Taxes will slow the economy. You add tax increases and you combine tax increases with tariffs, you're going to wreck the economy. If you want to cut taxes, you got to find some cuts. The Republicans have tentatively agreed on like $2 trillion in cuts. You know how many they can actually agree on? Something like $80 billion. They have to find $2 trillion in cuts. They can only agree on $80 billion. That's not looking optimistic for the future. They're going to need to do better.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so...
And at 220, still tracking Merge Madison to Midtown of the Coolray Carrier Traffic Center. Left lane roadwork still plaguing you. 400 South, merging to 85 South, exit 1A. You want to use Piedmont Road or Highway 19 to dodge those delays. And roadwork still active in right lane. 285 South as you're getting past Langford Parkway. That's exit 5. This spurt sponsored by the Georgia Lottery. Tonight's Mega Million jackpot, $215 million. Select the multi-draw feature and stay in the game for the next several jackpot drawings. They're every Tuesday and Friday. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
I've got a sense of humor.
He's your co-pilot for the ride home.
The driver of this vehicle is a better human being than you are.
He's Eric Von Hessler.
I'm here to tell you the truth.
Eric Von Hessler.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head-scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into. They think they know what equities they have, they think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup, and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you. because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
See this garage door? I gotta be honest with you. It's ugly. I mean, successful, attractive homeowner like you, it's time to move on. This is not the garage door your parents thought you'd spend the rest of your life with. And that ain't true with everything in life, don't get me wrong. I mean, honey, if you're listening, you can't divorce me just because I'm no longer the handsome stud you married. But your garage door? The neighbors all think you can totally do better. At Mo Better Garage, we make that way mo better. Let us show you how many sexy new alternatives there are, just waiting for someone like you. You swipe right on a beautiful new design, we install everything in a lovely ceremony, and you and your new garage door live happily ever after. For better, not worse. How do I know? Because I'm Mo. Call Mo Better Garage and we'll come make it right. Maybe I should pick up some flowers on the way home.
Mo Better Garage, we make it way more better.
MoBetterGarage.com.
If it's happening on the streets of Atlanta,
U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia announces his resignation.
if it's happening on the roads leading to Atlanta,
Some brake lights out of Cobb County, I-20 eastbound.
we've got it covered.
The U.S. Surgeon General is warning about a link between alcohol and cancer.
Your 24/7 news source.
Covering the stories that impact you.
Tune in throughout the day to stay up to date.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station. All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Here, the phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be delighted to have you. Just for those of you who wonder where the Democrats are, this has been bleeped so we can play this. Hassan Piker, I don't know him. But Hassan Piker is actually an influential progressive YouTuber, young YouTuber. I want to play you this audio. We've bleeped the words. Just prepare yourself for Hassan Piker.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott, okay? You wouldn't make Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, Rick Scott, you wouldn't make him the current, what is his current office? What is he?
Doesn't even know.
He's the Richard Lynn Scott, is an American attorney, businessman, politician, Navy veteran, serving as the senior United States Senator from Florida, a seat he has held since 2019. And also, I believe this past election cycle, he was literally the head of the, what was it, like the Senate committee or something, like the Republican fundraising initiatives. The reason why I'm saying if you cared about Medicare or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott is because, and not make him a prominent part of the Republican Party.
This guy repeatedly says, kill Rick Scott. Kill Rick Scott. This is a progressive YouTuber. You notice progressives always find a way to justify the ends, justify the means. that he's accusing Rick Scott, who used to be in charge of what, Columbia HCA, I think it was, or Coliseum HCA Hospital, that was involved in a Medicare issue back in the day. Hassan Piker now says you got to kill Rick Scott. Go kill Rick Scott. The left continues to ratchet up the violent rhetoric. It's never unexcused. The left always finds an excuse to ratchet up the rhetoric, to become more and more violent, and to excuse it. They've got students, anti-Semitic students on college campuses, beating up people on college campuses, and they're finding ways to excuse it. Constantly, nonstop, finding ways to excuse it. It's just wild to watch the left descend to violence. We can see where this is headed, and it's not good. What is good is going to Hillsdale College and filling your brain with good stuff. Go to ericforhillsdale.com and sign up today to be a part of Hillsdale College and to get some of their exciting classes. They've got up to 40 to choose from right now. They're video lectures you do at your own pace with some of the best professors from Hillsdale College. And you pick the class you're interested in, and you just learn about a topic you're interested in. It's good for your brain. It's good for you. They're entertaining. You do it at your own pace. You do it from Hillsdale College by going to ericforhillsdale.com, ERICK, for Hillsdale.com, ericforhillsdale.com. And you can take classes on religion, on philosophy, on political thought and theory, on the Constitution, on theology, on English, on literature, on math, on chemistry. Find a topic you're interested in and spend time with some of Hillsdale's great professors. Do it at your own pace. Every video is about 30 minutes long. Some are 5, some are 10. It depends on the class. ericforhillsdale.com. It's completely free, no charge. ericforhillsdale.com. Go check them out today.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's news and talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story. Many stocks falling again today after the tariffs imposed by President Trump hit goods from China, Canada, and Mexico.
We should be prepared that it's going to be a bumpy ride.
CBS Money analyst Jill Schlesinger says this will have implications for the U.S. economy. The White House says the tariffs on imports will make trade fair. President Trump addresses the nation tonight. This will be his first speech to a joint session of Congress since reclaiming the White House, and you can hear the president and Democratic response starting at 9 tonight on WSB. An odd burglary case out of Gwinnett County. Police are searching for a man who broke into a home on Cannings Lake Court in Lawrenceville by walking through an unlocked basement door. Corporal Juan Matieto with Gwinnett Police tells us what the man did once inside.
He's fiddling around with some items in the basement. Eventually makes his way into the bathroom, takes a shower, and leaves the home. Leaves the home before taking a actual key to the house, a lighter, and a folding knife.
The homeowner confronts the man and he takes off. We posted pictures of the suspect at WSBRadio.com. The Atlanta-based CDC is on the ground now in Texas to help respond to the measles outbreak there. It says a response team will help make quick decisions to control health threats. At least one death is reported from the outbreak. Atlanta's trail system is expanding thanks to new grant money from the Georgia Department of Transportation. The Atlanta City Council approves the $1.7 million to connect the Path 400 trail from Buckhead to Sandy Springs.
This network will connect with the Beltline. It'll connect south of the district with the trail network in DeKalb County.
Councilman Howard Shook says it'll eventually also connect to the Silver Comet Trail. It is now 2:32, and this news is sponsored by FGA Roofing.
From mission-critical moments to business as usual, rely on Critical Link from Southern Link, the network that supports L3 Harris LMR and LTE radios and Samsung Galaxy Series smartphones. Critical Link, reliability in action. Call 866-450-LINC for more information on Southern Link products and deals. Or visit Highfly Technologies in Atlanta or NextLink in Duluth. Go to southernlink.com to find a dealer near you.
If you've been thinking about selling your home this year, now is the time. Hi, this is Mark Spain, and our offers are the strongest in the industry. When you receive a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, there's no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Our guaranteed offer keeps you in control. One of our clients, BR, said, Mark Spain Real Estate sold my home within 30 days. I definitely recommend them to my friends and family. Trust the top real estate team in the U.S. and find out what your guaranteed offer would be. There's no obligation. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com. And start packing.
Are the effects of diabetes, prostate cancer, hypertension, or high cholesterol robbing you of your ability to perform in the bedroom? Choice Men's Health can help you eliminate ED and get your bedroom performance back in just one visit. Choice Men's Health offers breakthrough treatments for ED and performance issues in the bedroom to help you regain your confidence and give you back the intimacy with your partner. Call Choice Men's Health right now to make an appointment and find out how you can eliminate ED on the first visit. Popular name brand pills like Viagra and Cialis don't work for everyone and can have serious side effects. Choice Men's Health custom medications work immediately, even if you have a medical history or think you're too old to perform like you used to. Choice Men's Health can help you have a fulfilling sex life again. Call Choice Men's Health today at 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170. Once again, that's 404-400-1170.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At 2:34, Andrew Seco is in the traffic center.
And we're still dealing with the Burge Madison to Midtown, left lane roadwork 400 south, merging to 85 south, exit 1A, all the way back towards Lennox Road. You may want to hop on Piedmont Road or Peachtree Street, save you just a little bit of time heading closer to the heart of downtown. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Cloudy and breezy today, high near 70, wind gusts as high as 40 miles per hour.
And we'll be watching for the storms to move in between midnight and 5 a.m. Stay with WSB for updates through the night. Right now, 60 degrees in Cumming, 67 in Fairburn, 64 in Tucker. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, even when it isn't popular. You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show.
Greetings, it is Erick Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425 if you wish to be on the program. This just happened a short time ago. Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of the 51st state, that would be Canada, has addressed the American people and the press at a press conference.
The United States launched a trade war against Canada, their closest partner and ally, their closest friend. At the same time, they're talking about working positively with Russia, appeasing Vladimir Putin, a lying, murderous dictator. Make that make sense. Canadians are reasonable, and we are polite, but we will not back down from a fight. Not when our country and the well-being of everyone in it is at stake. At the moment, the U.S. tariffs came into effect in the early hours of this morning, and so did the Canadian response. Canada will be implementing 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods, starting with tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods immediately, and tariffs on the remaining $125 billion of American products in 21 days' time. Today, we will also be challenging these illegal actions by filing dispute resolution claims at the World Trade Organization and through the USMCA.
That's Justin Trudeau with a little bit of an editing there in the cut. Going to ratchet up prices on the United States. Now, the bigger question here is China. And Walter Mead, who is widely respected, has a very intriguing column on China and the situation that it is going to have to deal with when it comes to, well, the trade war. Walter Russell Mead, writing to the Wall Street Journal, China's real problem isn't the so-called Thucydides trap, which holds that a rising power like China must clash with an established power like the United States, the way ancient Athens clashed with Sparta. It was Lenin, not Thucydides, who foresaw the challenge the People's Republic is now facing. He called it imperialism and said it led to economic collapse and war. Lenin defined imperialism as a capitalist country's attempt to find markets and investment opportunities abroad when its domestic economy is awash with excess capital and production capacity. Unless capitalist powers can keep finding new markets abroad to soak up the surplus, Lenin theorized, they would face an economic implosion, throwing millions out of work, bankrupting thousands of companies, and wrecking their financial system. That would unleash revolutionary forces. Under these circumstances, there was only one choice: expansion. In the age of imperialism of the 19th and early 20th century, European powers sought to acquire colonies or dependencies where they could market surplus goods and invest surplus capital in massive infrastructure projects. Ironically, this is where communist China stands today. Its home market is glutted by excess manufacturing and construction capacity created through decades of subsidies and runaway lending. Increasingly, neither North America, Europe, nor Japan is willing or able to purchase the steel, aluminum, and concrete China creates. Nor can China's massively oversized infrastructure industry find enough projects to keep it busy. Its rulers have responded, attempting to create a soft empire in Asia and Africa through the Belt and Road Initiative. Many analysts hope when China's economy matured, the economy would come to look like the U.S., Europe, and Japan. A large, affluent middle class would buy enough goods and services to keep industry humming. A government welfare state would ease the transition to a middle-class society. The future is now out of reach, key Chinese officials believe. Too many powerful interest groups have too much at stake in the status quo for Beijing's policymakers to force wrenching change on the Chinese economy. But absent major reforms, the danger of a serious economic shock is growing. The Belt and Road Initiative was designed to sustain continued expansion in the absence of serious economic reform. Chinese merchants, bankers, and diplomats comb the developing world for markets and infrastructure projects to keep China solvent. In a 2014 article in the South China Morning Post, a Chinese official said one objective of the Belt and Road Initiative is the transfer of overcapacity overseas, imperialism with Chinese characteristics. But as Lenin observed a century ago, the attempt to export overcapacity to avoid chaos at home can lead to conflict abroad. He predicted rival empires would clash over markets, but other dynamics also make the strategy hazardous. Nationalist politicians resist development projects that saddle their countries with huge debts to the imperial power. Imperialism is a road to ruin. China's problems today are following the pattern. Pakistan, the largest recipient of Belt and Road financing, thinks the terms are unfair and wants to renegotiate. Malaysia, the second largest target, wants to scale back its participation since pro-China politicians were swept out of office. Myanmar and Nepal have canceled their projects. Sri Lanka was forced to grant China a 99-year lease on the Hambantota port to repay Chinese loans. Countries across Asia and Africa are starting rereading the fine print of their contracts. Meanwhile, China's mercantilist trade policies, the subsidies, the intellectual property theft, and the coordinated national efforts to identify new target industries and make China dominant are keeping Europe and Japan in Washington's embrace despite disliking Trump. China's chief problem isn't U.S. resistance to its rise. It's that the internal dynamics of its economic system force its rulers to choose between putting China through a destabilizing economic adjustment or pursuing expansionist development. Lenin thought capitalist countries in China's position were doomed to a series of wars and revolutions. Lenin was wrong. 70 years of Western history since World War II showed that with the right economic policies, a mix of rising purchasing power and international economic integration can transcend the internationalist dynamics of the 19th and early 20th centuries. But unless China can learn from those examples, it'll get stuck in the Lenin trap, in which the strategy for continued domestic stability produces even more powerful anti-China coalitions abroad. That's Walter Russell Mead in the Wall Street Journal. He wrote it in 2018, not today. But it still is true. Here's the problem for China. The United States is now imposing tariffs on China. What do the Chinese do? Try to dump more stuff internationally or shake up their economy at home? The Chinese economy is shaking without China doing anything. The Chinese economy is deeply unstable. Prices aren't going to go up in China because they have surplus economic capacity. They make so much stuff in China right now that they can afford to not have prices rise. But people at home can't buy it, so they've got to export the surplus abroad. China's going to have to raise prices economically because of the tariffs. They're going to see an increase in prices. China itself won't raise the price. The importers will, and that'll slow the sale of Chinese goods, which means they got to find a way to sell them at home, or they got to dump them in an international market that is increasingly unwilling to do business with China. So how's China going to respond? Well, you got retaliatory tariffs, non-tariff barriers like increased inspections and delayed customs clearance, currency devaluations, reduced purchasing of treasury bonds, increase in American borrowing costs, and export restrictions on critical minerals. China does have a hand to play in this. The problem with the Chinese hand is that anything China does risks destabilizing China at home. The Chinese were really hoping they could find a way to work with Donald Trump to not get tariffs, because American tariffs could legitimately be destabilizing in China. The Chinese economy is not doing well. They've been in depression. They've actually had wages and prices declining in China. The government has been having to dump money into the economy to spark inflation. This isn't a good setup for China, but it makes them more dangerous. You see, there are a lot of people who think China is a country on the rise. I actually think China is a country on decline. That makes them more dangerous. They're on decline. They're going to try to climb back up the ladder. I don't think they can. Their birth rate is in decline. Their economy is in decline. Their educated workforce is in decline. People are trying to flee, so they become more totalitarian. That's always dangerous. More totalitarian regimes, less free regimes. People go in search of freedom. Xi Jinping is hanging on to power. It makes them dangerous. It absolutely does make them dangerous. But also, it means we have economic leverage on China, probably even more than they have economic leverage on us, and tariffs are a part of it. I'm not a fan of tariffs. I don't think economically tariffs work generally, but I'm okay with tariffs on China. They are our enemy. We should be treating them as such. Kevin in Jacksonville, Florida, you're going to be up next. Welcome. How are you?
Good. Thanks, Eric. Just real quick, I was in Ponte Vedra the other day, front row, sitting right in front of you. It's a very good thing remembering Rush.
Thank you very much for being there.
Yeah, real quick, and right when it was over, it seemed like you just stormed out of the room. I wonder why he left so quick, but I'm sure you had something to do.
So no. Okay, so let me. Yes, I got out of the room very, very, very quick. So we had done a receiving line. And with the receiver, we were on our feet for about an hour, and then we went to the back, and we sat in the back for a little while until it started, and then we had to stand behind the curtain for about 20 minutes after the event started before they came on. Kevin, I had to use the bathroom so incredibly badly by the time I got off that stage. I was afraid if I stood there and tried to shake hands with a single person, y'all were going to see a wet spot all over the floor. I had to pee so bad. I realized that's too much information. I understand. I tried not to drink that bottle of water on stage, but I got allergies. And between drinking the bottle of water and having not had a chance to go to the was desperate. So, yes, I ran out of that room as quick as I could to save y'all from watching me make a mess.
It was a great time, boy. We forget just how monumentous that guy was, man.
Yeah, he's such a good guy.
But just real quick, post-70s, 1970s, I remember when that Honda lawnmower came on. They said one pull and it starts. All the American people said, that's amazing, that's impossible, man. Are you crazy? And sure enough, one pull and it started. And to me, that was one of the first imports I remember growing up. And my mother, being the president of the union, met with Jimmy Carter and Ford and all them for CWA all the time in that time frame. She was always saying, buy American, made in America, made in America. Now, granted, I know right now, Eric, we rely on most of our stuff being from somewhere. turned us into a service-provided nation. But if we can get back to where we just, as Americans, just buy what is made here, obviously tariffs have no impact on us. I just wanted to get your thought on moving forward. If we could just get back to the motto of pre-1970s and NAFTA, of course, forget that, all that stuff. But just wanted to get your thoughts on that. And I think if we can pull that off, tariffs is just
Kevin,
the money.
So here's the problem.
Put the money in the coffers.
Thanks very much for that. So here's the problem. There are things we can make a lot of stuff in this country. Problem is we can't make that much stuff in this country cheaply. There are things like the lawnmower we can make somewhere else, and that frees up our income to then buy a lot of other stuff. The more stuff we make here, the higher the cost is because we have higher labor costs, regulatory costs, infrastructure costs, you name it. Our costs are higher than, say, let's just pick on one country. Let's just say India. It's cheaper to make this stuff in India, an ally. So by making the stuff in India and we buy it, they import it here, we buy it, and it's cheap, we now have a lot of money left over to still buy other things. And as a consumerist society, Americans like to buy stuff. You make the lawnmower here, well, now we have less money to go buy clothes and food. And that's the trade-off. Do you want to buy less stuff, but it's American, or do you want to buy more stuff and it's not American? And you can say, well, I want to buy American. God bless you, good for you, thank you for your patriotism. Most people want to buy the cheap stuff. And you raise their prices, they now have less money for vacation. Well, then guess what? That hurts the hospitality industry and the restaurant industry. You hurt the hospitality and the restaurant industry, you lower their wages, you start layoffs there. Those people have less money to buy, you send the country into a recession. Cheap goods is actually a good thing for American consumerists. It just happens to be bad for wages in this country. And we have balanced that out with international trade, and there's a fine balance that we've just got to perpetuate, or else we potentially cause the economy a world of hurt. Now, speaking of economic world of hurt out there, I mean, you've got problems with banks right now. We've still got high interest rates. They may go back up with tariffs. Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years. They've been warning people about a secret war on cash. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash, you need their free report. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Swiss America can educate you on protecting your assets in their report, The Secret War on Cash. It takes less than 15 minutes to read. I can attest to that. It takes less than 15 minutes to read. And it'll save you on your retirement and finances. You can get a completely free copy from Swiss America. The only thing you have to do is text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646. If you don't want to text my name to 800-289-2646. Pick up the phone and call them at 800-289-2646. The All-Out War on Cash, by the way, includes digital forms of currency. The Secret War on Cash report, completely free to my listeners. Just mention Eric when you call or text 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
At 251, tracking delays through Douglas County. The Cool Area Traffic Center brush fire causing that slowdown. 20 eastbound at Bill Arp Road. No lanes blocked, but we're seeing the delay. So hop on Highway 78, and the merge madness continues into Midtown. Forward or south, roadwork in the left lane, merging into I-85 back towards Lennox Road. You'll want to hop onto Piedmont or Lennox Road as alternate options. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
The latest news, weather, and traffic.
Big crash here. Heavy police and official.
Don't leave for
The
work
DeKalb County Commission continues to look over options.
without checking in with Atlanta's Morning News.
Says Georgia is 19th best in the U.S. for remote workers.
Tomorrow morning at 5.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB.
How Atlanta starts its day.
A popular retirement myth is that once you retire, taxes go away. Not so much. We're here with Aaron Vincent of the Vincent Financial Group, and let's talk about the importance of having a tax strategy, not just now, but into and through retirement.
Taxes will be your biggest expense in retirement. I love analogies. So whenever I was a kid, I got in trouble sometimes. When I reached a certain age, my parents gave me the option. They said, hey, you can either choose over again. Every day you wake up, your friends are playing outside, and you get to sit in your room and look out the window and watch them play because you chose the grounding because you didn't want the upfront pain. I mean, that's a tough choice to make. That's basically, in a nutshell, Mark, when you say, well, what can you do? What are some tax strategies? I'm here to tell you right now, we don't have a magic wand, and we can't just say, hey, come work with us, and no longer do you pay taxes anymore. That's just not real. There are definitely strategies that will help mitigate the amount of taxes that you'll pay. We can calculate how much you'll pay over your retirement, and we can determine what that tax bill will be. That's the grounding. That's the default path. That's the one that if you don't have a plan for your money, you fall into the government's plan for your money, and that is that you choose the grounding. Who wants to feel pain now? Who's going to choose pain? I'll raise my hand and say, yeah, I want the spanking. If you don't even know it's an option, you're definitely not choosing it. Well, so the point is, there are strategies. There are things that you can do to mitigate those taxes that you're going to pay over a 30 or 40-year period of time, but you got to choose the spanking.
The choice is yours. Pay a little more now or a lot later. Call the team at the Vincent Financial Group and take advantage of their no-cost, no-obligation tax map. 770-280-1488. That's 770-280-1488 or online at retireatlradio.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. A 401k assessment does not constitute a comprehensive retirement plan. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or consumercellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
One of the greatest investors of all time and one of the wealthiest people in the world, Warren Buffett. Do you know that Warren Buffett lived since 1958 in the same small house? That's right. As he got wealthier and wealthier, he never moved to a bigger, fancier place. There are two principles that he's always encouraged people to live by. One, always live on less than what you make. Key rule, that every paycheck, regardless of what you're making, you put some money aside for your future and for emergencies. Simple advice, right? Second thing, he always despised consumer debt, credit card debt, anything like that. And remember, nobody ever got rich paying Visa or MasterCard 25%. I'm Clark Howard.
What they think.
Well, your wife's been in our prayers, but quick question I had for you. With Ukraine, I had heard you make the comment about the fact that the money that was going over to Ukraine was somehow, some way a loan, not just given to them.
Yes,
and
most of it, not all of it.
What you were saying?
Yeah. Okay, so here's the way the money for Ukraine works, is some of the money to Ukraine was in the form of a direct grant from the United States, and it was to fund Ukraine's weapons purchases from our NATO allies. Our NATO allies then, in turn, turned around and bought new stuff from us. So we got the money back, even though it wasn't a loan to Ukraine, because they bought the arms from, for example, Poland, and then Poland turned around and said, hey, U.S., can we now buy some FA-18s? And we said, sure. Other money to Ukraine to fund salaries of teachers and to fund their postal system, for example, was one of the appropriations. And then also for some of the defense supplies, bullets and stuff like that, was done in the form of a loan to Ukraine, where what Ukraine did and what Europe did is they guaranteed to repay the United States the money. If Ukraine lost the war, Europe would repay the money. If Ukraine won the war, Ukraine will over time repay the money. So there was some direct grants to Ukraine, and there were some loans to Ukraine. The bulk of the money to Ukraine was in the form of a loan. Now, this got a little nebulous last week when Volodymyr Zelensky insisted the money was a gift. It's not a gift. You can read the congressional appropriation yourself if you want. There's a repayment plan for Ukraine.
Yeah, no, and I mean, like I said, I trust your judgment because, I mean, I listen to you all the time. I was just confused because as a common American, I just didn't understand how, and most Americans don't understand how the government is so convoluted that.
And, you know, the legislation there, look, John, I got to let you go there because we got 30 seconds. But, yeah, so there are two tracks, some grant, some loan. All of it's going to be money that flows back to the United States eventually. They were kind of clever how they did it. But the reality, of course, too, is that the United States very often doesn't collect on that debt. So, yeah, we'll still be out of pocket for some, but not all of the money.
They want another review.
And here you are getting your news, weather, and traffic on WSB. As a small business owner, you might be thinking,
If only the hundreds of thousands of WSB listeners knew that my business is perfect for their needs.
Growing your business is easier than you think. Most of the successful and respected brands you hear advertising on WSB grew their leads and revenue connecting with our listeners.
Brands like Coolray, Breda Pest Management, and Finley Roofing. They built relationships with the listeners who tried their products, loved them, and told their friends. This could be your business.
It's easier than you think because it's what we do. Customize advertising campaigns to increase your leads and revenue.
WSB has a team of creative brand builders who know how to get your message out and grow your business.
Join the elite Atlanta small businesses that grew to the next level thanks to WSB. Just go to WSBradio.com and click the Advertise button in the top navigation bar, and someone will contact you shortly. Grow your business the right way with WSB Radio.
News, weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 3 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story, the search for creepy burglar in Gwinnett County. It is a reminder to make sure you lock your door.